sounds like we lost them. It sounds like sounds like they're gone Reno, and it just sucks, man. I think we're all gonna start grieving here, and yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to say anything, request to say something. I've never run one of these spaces before, but uh, it just stinks. I think I gave somebody a speaker if they want to talk. If anyone else wants to talk, just let me know.
Hey Hal, it's Ryan. How are you, man?
Oh, dude.
Uh, this is frustrating, Hal. Um, I I got some stories. My dad and my mother they started taking me back in the early '90s, '92. I was 6 months old. They started the Jamie Cork fan club with my dad's friend Rick and Jason Farmer, and it's I've been going there ever since I was 6 months old. Dave Henderson held me when I was a baby. Um,
Oh,
and it's like, and my dad took me to my first game, and we have a picture in the parking lot. Me and him are throwing the ball together. This is sickening. It's really frustrating. I mean, I went to opening night. I'm glad we won. And what it's been like trying to go to games. It's horrible. Tickets are outrageous. It's sad, man. And seeing this news, it hurts. It makes me want to cry.
I think if you want to cry, it makes sense. Go ahead. Um, it's
But thank
it's
you for
like
letting me on.
losing.
Appreciate it, man.
It's like losing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like losing a member of the family. Um, it's it's it really is like that. Um, and I think about all the people that I've met at the Coliseum, that I've shared just fun experiences with. And uh, when I think of all the fun times that I had, I wasn't an A's fan growing up, but just the fun times that I had going to baseball games with my dad and my mom and stuff, and knowing that people in the East Bay won't have that. It's just sickening. It just fucking sucks, and it fucking sucks because the city of Oakland, had a plan, and it was just clear to John Fisher that he was going to be able to make more money in Las Vegas, and that's really I'm really happy for him and the billions of dollars he inherited. So I'm glad that there'll be some more billions of dollars for him. Steven, do we hear you?
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
Hal? I, I'm at a loss for words. I, I really, I really don't know what to say anymore. Um, but I think we got to realize that I think as fans, like, are we surprised? I think
no,
I'm not
no.
surprised. I think some of us were we were trying to hope for the best, but also prepared for the worst. And and how you see me, give my input and my intake on what was happening day to day, and trying to break down the facts and whatnot. But um, a part of me really, really, really thought that there was some sort of glimmer of hope that something was going to come about. And you know what? And I know, every Brody's been saying this, and Casey's been saying this too about, we saw the same thing with, the Kings and the Giants, and nothing came about. But I mean, that glimmer of like that tad glimmer of hope doesn't seem very, you know, possible.
Yeah, I
But
think I think there was I think I was always overestimating the probability that would happen in Oakland, but even when it started to look bad, you just felt like, yeah, but yeah, but they can't do it, you know? We can't lose all the teams. We can't lose um we can't lose everybody. Um and
It, it,
yeah.
it and it doesn't surprise me that Major League Baseball it's next to the NFL and next to other big time professional leagues that I mean this has always been a business, never about the fans. Big billionaire owners club that pretty much backs each other. You know, but it would be really interesting to see the outcome of everything being put together in Las Vegas and to see where this ends up,
Yeah.
you know.
We'll see. If anyone wants to speak, just request it. I'll do my best to try and prove anyone. I don't really have an agenda here. I think we all just want to hear from each other.
Hey guys, this is Alex Espinoza from Ricky Blog, and I just want to know: are you guys gonna turn this into a positive? Like, are fans gonna try to celebrate Oakland baseball the rest of the year? Are people going to be mad because, like, me and Hal just recorded a podcast, and I was saying, like, if I like going to A's games, I don't want John Fisher to take that from me for these next few months. So I'm just curious, like, is there any way that this can be turned into a positive celebration of Oakland baseball because seeing that they're out the door, or are those feelings gone?
I mean, I agree. I mean, turn this into like a celebration of life, you know.
For me, like growing up, like going to baseball games, and like this reminds me of like the day Yoenis Cespedes like got traded, and I was like so heartbroken, but I still like went to the game that happened like right after. I still celebrated being a A's fan, and I think I'm still gonna do that because like you said, I don't want John Fisher to take away the joy that the Oakland A's have like given me. I feel like that's almost letting them win. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so
And
heartbreaking.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree by people saying that they're protesting ongoing games. You just basically just handed them the title and gave them a reason why they're leaving in the first place.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah, and I mean, also like at this point, it's just it doesn't matter. I know I get it. I get people who don't want to give him their money. Buy if you don't want to give him your money, buy a Subway sandwich, bring a sandwich to the game, and buy a $10 ticket. But and if you wanna go to all the rest of the games and pay a ton of money, more power to you too. Because like at this point, it's just sort of like at this point, it's just like enjoy because I have a feeling that this will be the last year. I assume that they'll figure out a way to start playing next year at the minor league stadium in Vegas. But we'll see. But I I mean they certainly would make more money doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. Hal, that was gonna be my next question. Now, do they get that lease again for the Coliseum play next year, or do they go to Vegas and pack it up and play in the AAA stadium?
Yeah.
So what from what I understand, judging from my sources and media, that they would most likely play at Aviator Stadium,
Yeah.
and also too, and I believe D's on here too as well. He pointed out that the A's do owe money back pay dues all the way to 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good I think at least 35 million
Yeah.
they owe altogether. So they could easily play at Aviator Stadium next year. So this could be the
Yeah,
final
this
year.
could be
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anyone who's Sam, you got your
See,
hand up. Anyone who have given speaker time can cut in here and give their thoughts, or just vent their anger, or say, give a memory, whatever you want.
See my guy Casey on here.
Yep.
Yeah. I just wanted to, give my thoughts really quick, and then I'll dip out and give my spot to somebody else. But just wanted to thank you, Hal, for giving us, I guess, this collective grieving space as a community. And I think all my tears are gone already from tonight, but I'm starting to think about, I guess, the logical reasons why this happened. I've been mad at how hard it is to build here in California, whether it's housing, whether it's just any type of development. It feels like all these laws that we've passed for good intentions have been weaponized against us. They've been weaponized by, at least by now, billionaires against us, or by NIMBYs. It's really hard to, I'm 20 years old, and all I've known in my life is this team giving me pain, but also happiness, connections to my family. And to see how John Fisher has used the city of Oakland and our people as pawns in his little game makes me sick, makes me really sick to my stomach. Yeah, I feel for everybody here that's going through it like I am. Shout out to Willa, my fellow UC Davis comrade. Yeah, thank you once again, Hal, for having this space for us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sam. Patrick, you wanna let us know what you're feeling?
Okay, hi guys. Well, I've been following the A's from Poland, so far away for most of my life. So even though it's like I'm far away, so it shouldn't really matter exactly where they are. I mean, they're far anyways. I mean, still my family was North California, so it's still I felt this geographical connection, and still all this time I was hearing all these relocation stuff going on. I just always felt like hopefully they stay. I mean, 2018 was the year where they're all rooted in Oakland, when Caval was also excited when they had this plan for 2023 that there's going to be a stadium in Oakland. Of course, it's even more sad looking at this year and how it all turned out to be like a fairy tale. I'm also kind of sad today. It's kind of like a 2018 wildcard game, 2019 wildcard game. It's like the same gut feeling you have after a loss like that. I think for some it's gonna be even worse, I think. But yeah, it's I think I'll still root for them unless there's like in the future, I don't know, there are 32 teams and one of the two teams is Oakland. Then that's gonna be a problem. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe when one of those two teams comes up, maybe there'll be a good owner. Because yeah, I mean, they're I don't know, like let's see Todd Bowley, the Chelsea owner. Everybody criticizes him. Everybody says he sucks, but at least everybody knows that he's there. He spends money. He cares about his team. He shows
Yeah.
up at the stadiums. And
Yeah.
what about Fisher?
Yeah,
I
no, I
mean,
mean, Fisher, listen, last year, I think, Fisher, he never sat behind home plate where he used to sit. He would sit someplace else, and I think I may have seen him at five or six games, maybe total. But yeah, it is super bittersweet to think back to 2018, when you uh, when everything was sort of looking up, and everyone seemed to be like they had a plan, they were doing it, and it just stinks that happened. Casey, you wanna get on? And I mean, you probably know a lot more. I don't know if there's more to know, but Casey, tell us what you got to say.
I mean, really, I just wanted to pop in and say how much love, respect, heartfelt emotion I have towards every and all Oakland A's fan tonight. This is a really tough night. I don't know what you hit earlier, but I mean, as soon as I saw the stories, I was able to get a hold of the mayor and get a hold of the A's. And yeah, it seems like there's a bit of a finality to it, but like I said, it's not over till the shovels hit that hot ass Vegas dirt. So we'll see. I think it's very close to over, but who knows? If anyone has any questions, I'm here to answer them. I don't want to steal Hal's thunder though. I'm here to support Hal.
Yeah, I mean, boy, I don't, you know, I hate to be like, I hate to, I kind of feel like a negative Nancy, but also it just seems like, I mean, it does, at least it does seem like, that they got scooped, the A's. I don't think the A's were planning on making this announcement tonight. I think
Oh no, no,
that
no, no, no.
some
I
reporters,
completely
yeah.
disagree. I completely disagree with that. I
Oh,
think that
you
they
think that they
know.
were planning on this
Oh,
tonight?
absolutely, absolutely, Hal. This
All right.
is perhaps the one and only smart thing the A's have done all year. I mean, they're out
Oh, I
of
guess
town for
because
a
waiting
week.
for,
They're out of town for a
yeah,
week. They dumped it at night when people are sleeping, and the Warriors and Kings play tomorrow, which is going to dominate the entire Bay Area sports landscape news coverage. I mean, dropping it
yeah,
tonight was cold, calculated move, my friend.
yeah, yep. Well, boof. I mean, it's, oof. It's it. I just remember when when your colleague was interviewing Shang Tao a couple weeks ago, and I don't exactly remember what she said, but she said something like, we're endeavoring to get all of our ducks in a row to speak with the A's and stuff. It really sounded like when I would go in and talk to my advisor in grad school, and and all my research hadn't worked, and I was like, and they're like, well, give me an update on your research, and I'll be like, well, I'm endeavoring to get it to work better and make it happen. It just, ugh, ugh. All
Well,
right, let's hear from
this
some.
is weird.
Yeah,
Hold on, one more point on that. I don't know if you remember, but I made a video not that long ago saying I thought that Vegas was favored over Oakland. And
yeah,
when I did that, I had so many people come out of the woodworks reaching out to me from the Oakland side. And they
yeah.
were confident. I'm not even blowing smoke. Like they were confident. Like they were like, "Oh no, no, no. I would bet the house on Oakland. Like this is going well. Like we got this." And that was from multiple people. And so they clearly felt like they were in this and were in control. And I said I don't agree with that, but if you're saying that, that's good. But no. Apparently that was not the case, and it's interesting because the source
It's
reached out tonight
it's
and said,
so it's so frustrating because, like, it just, I feel what Manfred did was basically let the A's just pick the, wherever they think they get the best deal, rather than say like, if you can get a deal in Oakland, you have to take that one, which is what they should do. But
My question to Casey is that the fact that since this whole thing kind of just popped up, where does that leave with like Tampa now? Does Tampa now gonna expect a non relocation fee that is waived now, since Manfred just let that slide with Fisher?
I'm so wildly confused by the waiving of the relocation fee, and
yeah,
Yeah, because
it
we
just
talked about
makes
that the other
no sense.
night.
Yeah, I saw Steven at the Kings game the other night, and it doesn't make sense. Like, why would they waive a relocation fee? I mean, I guess it gets the deal done, but it's money out of all of their pockets. The whole thing doesn't make sense. But knowing that if the relocation fee is waived, this is the cheapest by far way for Vegas to get baseball. I think everybody would prefer an expansion out there, but that costs money compared to this with the waived relocation fee.
it's just wild. Matt, you've had your hand up a long time. What do you got to say to us?
Thanks, man. For me, people have covered a lot of different things, and so for me, the A's have been about Little League marches around the stadium, going to games, sitting in the upper deck with my family the few times we were able to go. And then, one of the things I'm realizing is because I'm team never giving them another dollar. You know what I mean? Like like fuck this bullshit. I'm not giving them another dollar. I'm not going to another game. I'm not buying another hat. But the realization that I've gone to my last A's game essentially, and I never got the chance to go to an A's playoff game because in the early 2000s I was in high school and couldn't afford tickets, and I went to school in Arizona, and I spent a decade and a half on the East Coast, where the closest I could get to it was sending my older brother to a playoff game. And just like, I have two young sons. I took my eldest son to games last year, and just like still getting through the rage part and getting to the part of just like what's being taken away from us as individual fans, as the city in which I was born in, and that me and my wife wanted our sons to be born in, because she went to O'Dowd. She's from Oakland, and just all that stuff, just all those emotions kind of coming together. I will say, uh, you know, I lived in Brooklyn, and there's a documentary about the Brooklyn Dodgers and their move from Brooklyn that feels so like on par with everything we've gone through as Oakland fans. That this documentary is like 15 years old, but you will like it's the same kind of machinations. Like this is a story since time immemorial with sports, that they're going to go where the money is, and like what they should do and what the fans want never factors into the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just want to end with, I'm an organizer by trade, and so my next thought is always like, well, what's the next thing? Like, what are fans going to do? I know for me, I don't want to go to any games, but like, is there even the possibility of Oakland getting an expansion team, or is that just like not even possible? Like, they're going to move away from Oakland altogether once the A's leave.
Nah.
No, not that. I think that's it for Oakland. They're not going to get
Yeah,
no
there's no
perfect.
shot.
Yeah, there's no shot of that ever happening.
Yeah. Well, not
What
in the
could
next.
happen is
Not in the
like
next
a
while.
influential group pulls together and tries to save the A's here. I mean, but
See,
they're not getting an expansion team.
That's what I was thinking too about. Some sort of an 11th hour miracle where.
But if you're Major League Baseball, you're like, now you got this thing in Vegas is going to come together quick. They're going to have a deal. They still don't have a deal at Howard Terminal, and I don't think Shang Tao is going to take a phone call from Major League Baseball right now. So, I think
we don't even know if she has yet. In fact,
yeah, I think I'd love to just hear some more people's thoughts and people's feelings. Bossy Ozzy, is that you there?
Hello. Hi, you
Hey,
guys.
how's it going, man?
Oh man. Ah, just like let me just describe how I was sitting at my desk. Um just like when Mexico lost in WBC against Japan, but let's multiply that by
You
100.
tapping me in?
What's that?
Oh, I don't know. Am I tapped?
Oh, hey,
Oh,
hey,
Nah.
yeah.
but
You
yeah,
could.
the whole sentiment is just fucking terrible. And I'm sorry for my language, to any folks that don't want to hear any cussing, but I'm just very frustrated. Oh my God, the waterworks are coming right now. The shaky voice, but
Yeah.
I finally had the guts to get out of my room, go tell my dad that the news dropped, the Vegas shit is happening. Well, like Casey said, try and hold on for hope until the shovels hit in that dry ass dirt, right? Um, but it's very heartbreaking and like extremely infuriating and frustrating that there just couldn't have happened. I can't even bring the
Yeah.
words out. It's just that fucking bad, and infuriating that it just couldn't happen, and they just spat in all of our faces. But all that bullshit aside, to all of you guys here tuning in, Hal, Casey, all of you guys, Brody, I see that all you guys are in here. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for keeping us in the loop and everything. Thank you so much for everything that you guys have all done, for being there for each other. I fucking love you guys so much, and I really hope that we can all just like stick together even after this A's era. And thank you for like listening to this.
Yeah, of course, man, and we'll friendships. We'll keep these friendships going. We'll see at Roots games. We'll see at we'll see at those old timer. We'll get beers at bars or whatever. Who else we got? Rick, you want to say something?
Yeah, thanks, Hal. I can go into a bunch about the actual proceedings and the stadium stuff, but I feel like it's better to just kind of give appreciation and thanks to us as a fan base first, and say thanks to people like Casey and Brody who have spent time and countless hours and years following this for us and keeping us informed. All of us who have spent our hard-earned money at the Coliseum and really knew what it took to be an A's fan, and it's more fandom and dedication and loyalty than anything. When the team gets torn down, we get one window every 4 or 5 years, it seems, 1 year, and we stick through it, and we watch prospects come and go, and we're always hopeful that we're going to shock the world, and that stadium's going to be built one day. And I feel like I'm about to cry right now, because that dream is over, and
it is. Yeah.
And I hope that we can still do the reverse boycott date and all get together. And I'm with you too, Steven. Like, I don't want to give them another dime, but I also want to be part of this family still. I want to acknowledge people like Hal's partner Jimmy, who they were down in the bowl selling hot dogs to us all, and I was the Eck from like 2016 to 2020, and I'm dancing with you guys and got to meet so many cool fans that I never met before, and
Hell yeah.
little kids who like created their own paper mache big heads. It's just old ladies who would tell me stories about how they knew the Eck and they knew Raleigh back in the day, and all of that will live with me forever, and for them to pack it up and move, and to watch the Raiders do it also. And there's just been a lot going on the last 5-7 years in this area that is just another big letdown. And I hope we get like a WNBA team in the Oracle Arena. I'll buy season tickets, man. I want my fandom to go somewhere, because it's really shitty. But I want to say thanks to everybody, man, for how active we are on Twitter, and we all we're all in it together. And I hope we can all share a drink at the Coliseum this year, and for what it's worth, and talk about all of our memories too, because we've had a lot of good ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rick. Good to hear from one of the big heads, man. Kurt, Kurt, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, so first and foremost, if I know I see a few people that know me personally, it's one of those things that first and foremost, I was born and raised a Dodgers fan, believe it or not, and I know that sounds crazy that I'm here talking about the Oakland A's, because the reason why I came to the A's was I was born in the East Bay and was raised in Los Angeles. But during our protests with Frank McCourt and the McCourt scandal with the LA Dodgers, it feels like I've been on the winning end with Magic Johnson and that crew, but being on the losing end because I came to this team at such a wonderful time in the team's history in 2012, it just feels gut wrenching, and I can't even imagine everybody else's feelings right now. Um, I guess the biggest question would be, I'm a proactive guy myself. I mean, I run Teal City Crew with the San Jose Sharks, and I've done a lot of supporter style and grassroots effort stuff. I guess my biggest question, this would be a big question for Casey or even Brody. Um, Not really what can we do, but I did look on the city council schedule. How do we how do we speak our mind? Because it's not just sounding like it's just, you know, John and Dave, but ultimately also the city in a situation where I feel we could do something more. We could do something where, like someone just said, the 11th hour. How do we find someone? Like, if you look at my previous tweets, I tagged Dame, I tagged Billy Joe Armstrong, um, you know, Ryan from the Black Panther movie. I tagged anybody. Tom Hanks. I tagged so many people because I feel like it's so important, and I feel like it doesn't matter about a profit at this point. You can make a profit off of an investment, and I feel like this could be that investment, and that's our only hope. I mean, honestly, that's you know, it's the only hope.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I think to me it's more like maybe now
Sorry,
just
I'm
like
so
more.
positive, by the way.
No, really, really helpful. I don't know, man. To me, it's just sort of like trying to find a way to just to keep the community going. Outside of the A's, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, it stinks. Jack, 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 what do you got to say?
First off, thank you, Hal. Just want to kind of introduce myself to everybody. I mean, I'm kind of a closet fan, guys. I live in Tennessee. My story to Oakland is a little bit different than most people, and that's kind of just why I wanted to voice, my thoughts, because it's currently 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm in shambles right now. Um, I grew up in Nashville and I watched Matt Olson and Matt Chapman come through the system, and they gave me a love for baseball. Matt Olson, when I was a young kid, came up to me and signed a bunch of autographs, and something about that just and that Kelly green and that yellow just it brought me close to Oakland for some reason. I don't know if it was because of guys like Chad Pender, Chris Bassett, Paulie B, of course. He's one of the only ones we got still. Um, yeah, it's tough. I'm somebody who pays, for MLB TV. I go the extra
Yeah.
mile, and I pay for the NBC stuff so I can watch the pregame and postgame. I watch as many games as I can. Like I listen to Jason. I'm going blank. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous and upset, but I listen to Jason's podcast, Locked On A's, and I just it's just tough because someone like me, hearing about the reverse boycott, I there was a split second where I thought about coming to Oakland for the first time to be a part of that because it means something to me to be an Oakland Athletic fan. Everybody here likes the Braves. My father likes the Braves, and I never really was attracted to them. And like I said, I like the A's, and it's unfair to everybody in here, especially guys who have been around longer. Everybody in here really, you guys are legends. I follow you, I keep up with everything on Twitter, and it's just really disappointing. And I just wanted to say thank you. And there are people like me out there. I'm not from California. I've never been to Oakland. I've dreamed to go to the Coliseum. Not many people do, but I do. You know, and I saved up all this money, and I was going to go to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh series to go see my first ever in person Oakland A's game. And now it's just I'm probably going to cancel the trip, honestly. And I don't want to give any more money to the Oakland A's, and it's not fair. They don't deserve it. We don't deserve it. And I wish there was more I could do, but really, I just wanted, to let y'all know that there's people outside of California like me that care, and it means something to me. And I've only been a fan for 7 years, but a lot of you guys. I mean, baseball is my life, and I love the Athletics, and I just appreciate all y'all, man. Thanks.
Jack, thank you so much, man. Like, that's awesome, man. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna do reverse boycott or something, or if you wanna, you know, I, I would say, like, I bet if this is the last year they're there, I bet there's gonna be a lot of people there in the last series. You know, my my advice to people is don't not come because you don't want to give money to John Fisher, because fuck him. He's your $10 ain't gonna make or break that schmuck's life, but $10 or $30 might. If you're somebody like Jack and you want to go to see your team at the Coliseum, this is your last chance, and you want to go meet people and just walk up to people, and there's going to be people hugging and crying, I'm sure. Come out. Don't don't wallow in your basement. You know, that's my advice to people. That's my advice is come out.
Thank
Um, Corey, what do you got to say?
Hey guys, hey Hal, hey from Boise, Idaho.
All right.
I grew up, so I was born in the South Bay, grew up in the East Bay. My first game, A's game, was 1987. It was the All Star game year there, and ever
Yeah.
since then, I was like, I just remember going, with the Little League, like Little League Day, going on the field, all that experience, and then just watching from afar if I wasn't able to go to a game. My last kind of game going to the Coliseum was '05 since I'm in Idaho. So, but I try to watch and keep tabs of the team from afar as much as I can. And today I was just kind of going through Twitter and I had seen somebody retweeted something and I was laying on bed just kind of going through stuff and just kind of hit me with a ton of bricks. So it was crazy. And just to see the other comments from the mayor saying they're just not going to negotiate anymore. That was like even more of a hit to me. Like it was pretty final, unless they changed their mind or something. But um, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I just kind of look back at all the memories I have of going to the Coliseum, just the experiences I have, just the good times, and then actually probably just cherishing this season since it's probably going to be the last season that they're probably playing the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Um, and then also too, thank you guys for Casey, Brody, Hal, all you guys for covering all this stuff, especially trying to get this from afar. I mean, you got to search high and low. I mean, I remember trying to find stuff back in the day for like the Fremont news back in the day and all that type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it was hard to find. So it was just like now it's a little bit easier, but it just sucks. And I was just trying to share my thoughts. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kyle, for having this.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks for following us from afar, man. It's weird. It's the attendance is so light, the last couple of years, that you feel, you almost forget it's a major league team, and that you have, that you got people following from all across the country, and that your community is bigger than just Oakland or Fremont or Hayward or Walnut Creek or whatever. Um, it just sucks for everybody. It sucks. I got a really good friend here who grew up in Berkeley, who lives in DC. I'm in Washington DC right now, so it's 3 in the morning. And he grew up in Berkeley, and he's been in DC for the last like 12 or 13 years, and I said, would you watch another game if they moved to Vegas? And he said, hell no. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that people don't live in. They're not they're not the A's anymore. So, all right, Will. Will, what do you got?
Hey guys, so I used to be a Raiders fan, and when they announced that they were going to Vegas, pardon my language, but I told them to fuck off, and I stopped following them. I'm gonna give the A's the same deal. I just it's hard. It's really hard to talk right now because it feels like my heart's been ripped apart a second time, especially from Las Vegas. And I just it really sucks. It sucks. The A the A's, they were my last team here in the Bay Area that they're my team. I'm not into the whole I'm not I'm not a fan of anyone else's. I'm an A's fan. This whole Bay Area, I'm not into it. And it's different because don't get upset at me, but I'm a Lakers fan. And yes, I see them win championships and all that, but it's different because they're all the way in SoCal, and over here the A's they're locally, and it's all just the memories, the time, the energy, the money just spending on them. Doesn't matter if they were winning, they were losing. I it's just it sucks. It really sucks. All this time and effort, and then just for them to say, we're not just leaving you, but we're also going to that city where the other football team went to. It's such a kick in the groin. Spending all this time, felt it was always a constant uphill battle. It
Yeah.
really has been A's fans versus the entire world, and sometimes has to be us include, and that world also include the Bay Area. It felt like we were just constantly fighting everyone. It's like going, no, it's not us. It's
Yeah.
always been ownership. I mean,
That's that. It just the I you can't read those you can't read those comments anymore. But when I read the comments um,
it's on us. It's
about
always the blame is it's always falls
yeah
upon Ace fans. It's like one, hey, how come you guys don't spend that much money? It's like one, well, we don't own the team. That's one man's choice, and his choice is being a cheap ass.
yeah.
But it's just
All
I
right.
it just sucks. But I don't want to take up too much time.
Yeah, it
But
sucks.
I appreciate what I really do appreciate every single one of you fans, every single Ace fans. I'm a very I keep myself from distance, but I always enjoy going to the games, talking to everyone. Shout out to Casey and to Brody. You guys, it feels like you two were the only few ones that had our backs. I yeah, I'm just trying. It's hard to stay positive, man. Freaking
Yeah.
everything's it's gone down the toilet. It is what it feels. It's like even right now, I have to go to work in a few hours. I can't sleep. It's like it's yeah. Just shut. I love all you guys, every single
Thanks,
one of
Will.
you. You guys are just awesome.
Hey,
All
Hal,
right.
one quick thing, Hal. How do you think the players feel right now, seeing all this shit?
What?
How do you think the A's players feel about this shit? Now, in their hearts, like, I know, of course, they're making all this money, but
Well, no, but I mean, almost none of them are making all this money. They're all on like minimum contracts. They're all fighting for their
no,
jobs.
yeah,
They're. I think, I think right now that they're just like, if I'm an A's player, like,
yeah,
if I'm an A's player, you're just fighting for your job right now, and you're just like, this is the last thing I fucking need. The last thing I fucking need. I'm already on. I'm already on the worst team in baseball. The last thing I fucking need is like the 10 fans that were coming out are now just gonna be constantly booing because of this. You
Yeah,
know, if I'm Tony Kemp, like this is the most
exactly.
important season of my life. You know, because
Yeah.
like this is my contract year. You know, like I don't need this distraction. If I'm,
I mean, Tony,
you know,
nicest,
yeah,
the nicest guy ever.
yeah,
It's just it feels like in my heart I'm like, you know, I'm
yeah,
guys like Seth Brown, Ramon, you know, the veteran guys, right? That have been here
yeah,
through this. It's disheartening, you know.
yeah. You know, and you know, I bet it sucks. Yeah, it sucks for people like Ramon, you know, because Ramon, you know, has all his fans are in Oakland, right? You know, and he's like, you know, it sucks for players like, you know, the fucking, you know, Ricky Henderson and stuff. It sucks for him too, you know, because like there's not gonna be any, you know, place to go back to where I don't know who fucking knows. It makes me sick to think of them going back to Vegas or something, but whatever.
Hey, Hal,
Brian,
can we let D speak? He's been having his hand up for a while. He knows all that real estate stuff in Vegas and stuff. So I'd love to hear
sure,
his
sure. D,
insight.
D, D, D. What do you got? What do you got for us?
Yeah. So I actually just wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet. I've been following the real estate stuff both in Oakland and in Vegas as best I can. Just kind of being in the real estate development community. The pragmatic side of me says that there's a real estate saying that nothing is final until the money's wired and the shovel's in the ground. At the same time, this is probably the lowest I've ever felt about the possibility of a new ballpark coming into Oakland. With today's announcement and just the many months of silence. That being said, um, I definitely wanted to say a big shout out to you, Hal, to you, Alex, to Last Dive Bar, to Casey, to other fellow A's Twitter community, Joe Hughes, Steve. We got Bleacher Dave is here. We got Rob, NorCal Nodders. There's so many names on here, and we're just such a tightly close knit Oakland A's Twitter community that today's news is terrible. At the same time, I just want to express all the gratitude that we've actually become really close over the last 2 years, ever since the A's said that they might have a foot out the door. So I just want to recognize that. We don't know what's going to happen. Things don't look good right now, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone gets recognized. That's all I had to say.
Cool, man. Thanks a lot. Brian, did you get yourself to a spot where you got a little bit better connection?
How's my mic? Is it good now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't on Wi-Fi. So my name's Brian Johansson, and I am What the Fuck Brian. Last Bar was created out of whatthefuckbrian.com. And basically, we're three fans. Everything you see from Last Bar is from three fans, right? And three different fans. And we all cheer for the A's in different ways. But collectively, we've come together and we created what we've created. Not a dollar has gone into our pocket. Every single dollar has gone into fanhood. And what Last Bar is, it's a reflection of what everybody's been talking about. Not all that negative stuff. And I'm not going to get into that as a fan because we all know how much that hurts, right? But what I will say, right, because I still need to meet with Paul and Carl, my two partners. And we also need to meet with some other big, A's groups, which I'm not going to mention, but they know who they are because we're planning stuff. And as of right now, that date, right, is still on. We're getting sales every single 5 minutes. We're getting shirt sales. We are here and we're always going to be here as Last Dive Bar.
Hell yeah.
And we are going to honor, right, our fanhood and how we've cheered for the A's and all those memories because we got 50 plus years in that Coliseum. And even though we leave, Last Dive Bar is going to be here for everybody. And we're going to celebrate the players. As I sit here thinking, we're going to continue to celebrate that. Somebody touched on, Ryan did, Dalton, right? And about how the players feel and stuff like that. You guys also need to think how the employees feel because they also work for a horrible, horrible owner, right? And they feel what we feel as fans. And I know that because I worked with a lot of them, and I'm not going to mention that.
Yeah.
The thing I will say is, I almost died on opening day, and I had to take leave of absence from everything. And I'm trying to get all that back. And so I've been off social, and Paul's been running everything. And so I know they're not on here, but thank you, Paul. Thank you, Carl. And thank you, everybody, for DMs and support and people that actually know what's going on, like Casey and Brody and some other people. I love you guys and D and everybody. The thing about people that are close, like everybody that's on here, is you don't need to say much because everybody knows how, everybody feels. And it's going to take time, and it's going to be time that people need to mourn this and go through this. But you know what? When life gives you lemonade, you fucking party. And Last Dive Bar is going to party until we have meetings. And if it's not in the best interest of the fans, we won't do it. But if this is the last year, personally, that I'm going to get to see A's baseball in Oakland, I'm going to enjoy every fucking second of it. And no owner is going to take that away. Because guess what? We've had owner after owner outside of Haas that just wanted the A's to leave Oakland. So although this hurts, this isn't like a shock, right? Because Casey just said weeks ago, 60-40, right? The minute he said that, and the minute he said it just takes an investor and they're gone, I knew the writing was on the wall. And even, and just all that stuff. But anyways, the fact of the matter is we're going to keep celebrating like we always are, and we're going to stay on track. And the 28th, we have a massive, and I mean massive, theme night. And you're going to have free pins all year long. And that event, we're just getting started. We got so much shit. We've already ordered so much shit for that event. And the people that we're coordinating that event with, they got a bunch of shit going on. We got so much stuff. You have no effing clue what we got going on. And we're going to celebrate the last time we have as fans. If you guys want to throw middle fingers up at Fisher, go right ahead. But I can't say what we're going to do as a company as Last Dive Bar until we get the feel for what the fans want. Because all Last Dive Bar is a reflection of you guys. So I came out of hibernation just so I could be here. I was getting a massage for my back, and I saw the tweet and text, and thank God you had this, Hal. And everybody that's on here, you contribute to what Last Dive Bar is. Everybody on is Last Dive Bar. They're 3 words, but it represents your guys' fandom, those memories that you cherish so much. That's all we're doing. It's a reflection of what you love about being an Oakland A's fan, and that's not going to stop from Last Dive Bar. We don't need the current ownership, right, to continue to cheer for that. And I don't know what the future holds as far as what Last Dive Bar looks like with Vegas, but we got a lot of fans that can help us out with inspiration. And you know what I mean?
Dude, I mean, like, fuck, man, like, you got me in tears now, man. Like,
well, Hal, you brought a lot of smiles to people's faces. You hadn't worked with the A's for a long time, but if you asked the average person, it felt like you worked there 40 years, right? Because you made that impression. Vitamin D comes down, and he came down, and I never saw the guy's face, but God, man, the guy just dug so deep into this. I knew he worked in real estate, right? But he came over to our theme nights and shook our hands and talked with us, and people that have actual issues with social anxiety. Guess what? They sit right next to me at games, and they shake my cowbell. And you know what? The essence of Last Dive Bar: you give everything, you ask for nothing, and it makes you happy. And so, even though this is very dark times, and of course I'm mourning the A's, leaving and all that, but you know what? You can't take away my fandom. No owner's done that, but you guys, even Haas, the whole the rights were given up because he wanted all the peninsula, and it backfired. So, you know what I mean? Charlie Finley won 3 World Series, but every single year, damn there, he wanted to leave. And the shots and everybody, they just wanted to leave. So that lessens the blow. But God, I'm gonna celebrate these players because I have relationships with them. And you know how Ramon feels? You know how Ramon feels? He just wants to fucking play baseball, period. That's it. That's his feeling. And he feels bad for fans. And most of those players feel bad for fans. And so do the employees. And they feel bad for themselves because they have to mourn the job that they just had of 30 years is now potentially not going to be there, right? Because they're not going to move to Vegas. So it's a lot bigger, but everybody has individualized feelings and mourning that they're going to have to do. And it's going to be different for every single one. But Last Dive Bar, we're going to respect all of that, right?
You know, and last dive bar is your company. Last dive bar is your brand, but it's it's even it's what it's going to baseball's last dive bar. That's what we were. That's what we are as fans.
Yeah.
And we
It's
still
a,
have that this season. And
it's an
fuck,
it's an
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on the 28th. But I'm excited to see what it is, and I'm excited to
well,
be out there with you.
okay. Do you want a hint? You guys want a
you,
hint?
you can give me a hint if you want.
Let me
Sure.
just say this: dress up as your favorite video game character,
All right.
and
Heck yeah.
dress up as your favorite video game character, and yeah, it's gonna be an epic, epic, epic night. And we're gonna party every Friday night. And guess what? We got hundreds and hundreds of free pins, and we
Yeah.
got designs and banners and I'm telling you, and we got all that stuff in the last call items. There's a reason for that, and we'll make it known later. And guess what? MLB, actual MLB, loves last sidebar, and so that's why there's a reason for that last call. And so there'll be a date, and maybe it's that date in June. And if we got any of those last call items left, they're all going to be at that event, and they're all going to be free. And we're going to have a bunch of fun prizes, and we're going to have those prize baskets, and we're going to have all sorts of shit and music
Yeah.
and matchis and barbecue, and we're going to celebrate us because that's what we deserve.
Yeah. 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 All right, man. Like Cody, I've seen you here for a while. Tell me.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you all for being here and for putting this on. I kind of wanted to go back to what Casey was talking about before, because when I see things like this, I kind of start looking at like the granular aspect of it, and it really doesn't make sense to me that Manfred's offering to waive a relocation fee. All these owners, they care about money. We have to believe, as has been brought up before, that the entire NL West is okay with the Giants having all of Northern California. We got to believe that the multi-billion-dollar franchise fee that would go to an expansion team in Vegas, the owners are okay walking away from that. And right now, in the grander scheme of baseball, we haven't ever seen this much dissension amongst owners, probably since the lockout in '94. What we're seeing is that everybody's tired of the cheap owner, whether you're Steve Cohen or you're down with the Padres, because these gates at these games, they get split like 60-40. And so when you're the A's going to play the Yankees in the Bronx and suddenly you're getting 40% of that gate, like why, what's these owners' relationships to Fisher? Like it doesn't, he's such a mystery man that it doesn't seem like he has those like deep relationships. And so when it comes to, taking those additional, 4 or 5 teams out of the NL West, like if they voted against relocation, if one other team came out and voted against relocation, like the A's haven't been great at this entire stadium saga. Why do we think that suddenly they're about to be like these slick deal makers in Vegas? And so there's a proposal, like, sure, things don't look great. But you have to have a Vegas legislature that's going to let the A's have $500 million in tax abatements. And you're going to have a public that'll put up for that. So it's like, we can look at this all as a doom and gloom right now. This is another step in the process, and I'm just trying to be realistic about it. But waiving of relocation fees, billionaires giving up tens of millions of dollars, that's not usually how they got to be billionaires. So, yeah, those are just my thoughts.
Well, this billionaire in particular got to become a billionaire by just fucking, winning the sperm lottery. So, whatever. But
born on third, thought he hit a triple.
That's right. That's right. Thanks so much, Cody. Callan, what do you got? What do you got for me, man?
Yeah, Hal, I mean, I just want to say thank you for. Well, I'm assuming. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
Can hear you.
Probably should have figured that out ahead of time. I just want to say thank you for having this, and God, I feel like a couple of other people said, my mind's moving a mile a minute right now, and I was at today's game against the Cubs and watched Mason Miller get his first strikeout of Cody Bellinger, and it felt good. And, I was looking around saying, wow, this is actually a pretty good attendance for a Wednesday day game interleague. It's not a team that we really get up and
Mm-hmm.
excited to play against. And the energy was just so great at the Coliseum, and it felt good. And I've been an A's fan my whole life. I grew up in Hawaii and came out here for college in 2017. And I still remember my first time coming to the Coliseum in person was a doubleheader, September 9th, 2017. And from that very first game, I went on my own and I sat in the outfield and I met fans and they welcomed me in as part of the A's family from my very first time. And it's it's
I remember that
heartbreaking.
doubleheader.
And it wasn't even a good game, man,
No,
or either of them. But
no.
it's heartbreaking to see what Fisher and Cavill, and to whatever extent Major League Baseball as an institution is doing to this community. And like a couple of other people have talked about fans being not just in Oakland. Like, I inherited my fandom from my dad, who you know it was a military brat, but born in Hawaii and raised all over the world, traveling while his dad was in the Air Force. And he's been a lifelong A's fan. And, he called me today while I was at the game, and he was talking about looking at tickets for the protest game and wanting to buy airfare to fly out just to come to the protest game, because he's he's seen this same song and dance with the A's for longer than I've been alive. And he's I know he hasn't seen the news yet, because as soon as he sees it, he's going to call me or text me. I'm dreading that conversation, because I've cried once or twice tonight just thinking about this, and I don't know how to even. I don't know. I think of this love for the team and the people, and I am a former A's employee, and I worked 2018 through last year, and I'm thinking of all these coworkers I have who, like you mentioned, Hal, are also going to be out of a job, if not this year, then very soon. And it's not just the day-to-day part-time stadium staff, but even most of that middle management,
Yeah.
within guest operations and you know food vendors and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I know ushers alone, they hire something like 600 ushers every year. Like, that's
Yep.
going to be so many people kind of aiming wandering aimlessly now. I'm just kind of at a loss for coherent
It's just
thought.
so disruptive to people's lives. It's so disruptive to people's, identities. It just sucks, man. Just sucks.
Yeah, but
But
I just well,
I'm really
so I can
happy.
stop rambling, I just want to express how much love I have for the A's family and Last Dive Bar and everyone who took me in from that first game through A's Twitter and everything, and especially you, Hal, man. You're a you're the fucking best. You're one of my favorite things about A's games. And
Can we
this was
give it
my
up for
girlfriend's
Hal
first
for
game
putting this
today,
together?
and
Yeah, we got to
I
give it up
told
to
her
Hal.
the legend of Hal the Hot Dog Man and how
Yeah.
different games were without you around.
It will be I just it will be bizarre to tell people in 20 years that I was a hot dog vendor for a team that no longer exists. But for some reason, I was a hot dog celebrity. Um, it was. I remember like trying to like when I was like I was doing therapy during during COVID, and at one point I was like, like the first couple of sessions I was talking, I was like, okay, I gotta like tell you this. This is not gonna like make sense, but like, I've said that like I do vend hot dogs, but like also I'm kind of a celebrity there. It makes no sense, because I'm just also a vendor, but it's just it sucks. It sucks that it's done. It sucks that it's gone, but it's also like, it's also like it's I'm glad we were able to make memories. I'm glad we were able to be there, and I'm also, in a way, I'm also really glad that they didn't tell us, they didn't like wait till the end of the season or something, and then that was gone. So we know. I'm going through all the stages of grief, I guess, tonight. But like I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, at least now I know, we know that we can go and watch, and know that this is the last season, and know that we can say goodbye to people and stuff.
Just like what Brian says, it's a fucking party.
Heck yeah.
Party it out.
Heck yeah, man. The town tailgate.
Hey guys, Tulio here. Chris is on the line somewhere. So is my cousin Alex. What's up, Alex? A few things that kind of just come to mind. One is if everybody's looking for a new team, I don't know about everybody here, but nobody become a Giants fan, please. No disrespect to any of our fans. Like multiple people, Giants fans, friends have reached out and like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like I appreciate all that, but it's like that organization has played a huge part on why the A's are where they at now. So like, please, never a Giants fan. Please don't. The other thing too is somebody's like, well, the Raiders, and I'm still a Raiders fan. It took me a long time to kind of like get over that grief of them leaving Oakland. But I think a part of what made the Raiders really important was, well, one, they moved before, and two, it's a very big family connection for me. Like my dad was a Raiders season ticket holder for 15 years, and then they drafted Jamarcus Russell, and the rest is history. And when my friends like, well, the Raiders moved, I'm like, but there's a difference. We're not chanting "Let's go A's." We're chanting "Let's go Oakland." Like this is Oakland. This is the history of this. You can't tell the history of this city without telling the A's as a part of it. And that was like the biggest, that's the biggest thing to me. And another part that was kind of like, I was getting emotional talking with my girlfriend about this. I'm like, slowly, I've been living in Southern California for 10 years now. Chris, I think, has also been here the same time. We both grew up in Antioch, growing to the Coliseum. I remember going, like, one of my earliest A's memories was, it was 1999 Battle of the Bay. I'll never forgive my mom for this. It was 1999 Battle of the Bay. The A's were losing. It was like going to the bottom of the ninth. My mom's like, well, let's leave early. They're going to lose. I'm like, what? We're like fighting about it. So we get in the car. We're driving through the parking lot. And then we had a game on. And Omedo Symes hits a walk-off home run. And we all just started yelling at my mom. It's like, you can't believe you left us there. I remember skipping my homecoming in 2006, instead going to Game 3 of the ALCS, which was by far my best A's memory ever. Marco Scudero hitting a bases clearing double. I've never heard the Coliseum that loud before in my life, man. It was so incredible. And I'm thinking about all these old memories I've had there, and I'm thinking about you're getting older, a lot of these things just kind of start leaving. It's like I have 3 older brothers. Only one is left in the Bay Area, and he's already talked about how he wants to move. He wants to move to Vegas of all places. Like, fuck off, dude. We don't want to hear that. And like my parents are getting older, so it's like, once they age to leave, my brother's gonna be moving, and my parents are older. It's like my connection to home is gonna change. That one thing that I was always gonna have was the A's, and like it's not gonna be there anymore. Like the Warriors, of course, I'm a diehard Warriors fan, and a lot of us are here, but it doesn't hit the same as it does with the A's. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to kind of see this go like this in the whimper of the night. I hope there's some, everybody was saying a lot of really optimistic things, and a lot of this stuff does sound pretty logical, especially you, Cody. I think you kind of talked a lot of us off the edge a little bit. We got to hold on to that, because if not, it's really just it's gonna hurt. But even, just again, shout out to everybody that's on here. Casey, Brody, I went up to you at the homecoming of 2018. I told you, hey man, I've been living away from the Bay Area for 5 years now, but I listen to your podcast, and like it keeps me a little bit in touch with it, and I appreciate it. So shout out to you if you're still there. Ricky and Hal, you guys have always been the shit. Rick, Alex now, sorry. Alex, we need to get these Tuesday night what was the calls we were doing? We were straight up just lighting up as we're live broadcasting the game.
Yeah, the playbacks. Yeah.
Playbacks. That was hella fun doing that last summer. Even if it was a terrible game, it was still a good time because you're just shooting the shit with everybody. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say. Appreciate everybody out here. Hopefully this is the end. If it is, don't become a Giants fan.
Yeah, I just want to just give a shout out to everybody for. I mean, it's 12:40 in the morning. Like the A's fan community is really amazing. Hal's on the East Coast. People don't know, so it's 3:40 for Hal. It's just pretty incredible this moment, and I'm just glad that we could all share this. I've almost been brought to tears many times of just everybody's stories, and I'm just very grateful that we could all share this. I just wanted to say that. So.
Yeah, man. All right. Who else we got here? 49er fan or what? Yep.
What's up? How's everybody doing? Yeah, some of you guys might know me on YouTube as 49er Minded. My real name is Bashar. Just want to, I don't want to say give my condolences. Nobody died, but I grew up as a diehard A's fan. Right around the time I became a diehard Niners fan, I lived in Pinole, California in the East Bay. Me and my neighbor, who was a Raiders fan, we used to argue about the Raiders. And my other friend that lived in our neighborhood was a Raiders fan. My brother's a Niners fan, and we'd always argue about the Niners and the Raiders, but our common ground was the A's. We get on the bus. It's back when I was going to junior high, and we'd take the bus that would take us to the Del Norte BART station over in El Cerrito across the street from Church's Chicken, and we go to the fucking A's games and $5 bleachers. It was a shit. It was, and these memories. God rest my brother's soul. He's not around anymore, but these memories will live with me forever. I got to see Jose Canseco. The batting practice is a
fire. I mean, Jose Canseco, Dave Parker, Carney Lansford, Ricky Henderson, the greatest base stealer of all time, Mark McGwire. I mean, I can go on and on and on about watching these great A's teams, even in high school. And it sucked to see Canseco go. And then we got, picked up Ruben Sierra or whatever. And then later, Mark McGwire left. And I still followed McGwire when he was in that home run race. But I hate to say this, man. It really pains me to say this, and a lot of people in my close circle of friends are still diehard A's fans. I totally respect and admire how much that they stuck it out all these years. And me being a Warriors fan, I probably would have did the same thing. But I'll be honest, there wasn't one single event that happened. It wasn't one. It was just time after time, players kept leaving and leaving and leaving. I noticed the ownership, regardless of who the owners were after the shots left, it felt like nobody gave a fuck about the fans. Nobody gave a fuck about the players. And it just, when there were all these strikes going on and stuff like that, my passion for baseball left me. I was no longer a diehard A's fan. And I feel like an asshole for telling you guys that. I feel bad for telling you guys that. This happened in the early 2000s, way back then, but I saw the pattern. And I could have easily stepped away from the Warriors like that. Thank God I didn't, because I got to enjoy all this recent success, which is awesome. But I feel really, really bad for you guys. I really, really do. Because these owners, excuse my language, I hate to cuss like this, but these guys never gave a fuck about the fans. They never gave a fuck about the players. And here they are. Like, I seen them advertise this shit on the news. And they draw these beautiful plans. They're gonna build this amazing stadium in I forgot what part near the marina. I forgot what part of Oakland was. You guys will probably remember, but they had these beautiful plans drawn up for a new stadium, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not following the team anymore, but that would be awesome if they built this stadium for all those loyal fans. And who knows, maybe I'll probably start going to the games again for just to check out the new stadium and see what happens. And none of this shit ever came into fruition. It's just bullshit. Bunch of millionaire assholes running these teams, and you guys brought up the fact about the employees and all that other stuff. It's just sad. It's just really, really, really sad. And I love the people in my close circle of friends who stuck it out as diehard fans. And I'm not gonna be if any of you guys decide to walk away from the A's, I don't blame you. But if you guys decide to stick with them, hey man, that's much respect too. At the same time, so I just feel bad for this whole situation. It's bullshit. It sucks. The Bay Area deserves better. The A's were an amazing organization, and now they're just a disorganized organization.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yep.
They have an amazing history. Growing up, hearing all these things about the A's teams from the past, even when I first became, it was just this amazing nostalgia behind it. And now it's just like, it just sucks, dude. I feel bad for you guys, man. I really, really do, man. That's all I got to say. You
We
guys are
all
awesome,
deserve
man. You guys
better.
do a
We
great job.
deserve
Shout out to
better.
Brody
Yeah.
Brazil. I met him before.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. Shout out to everybody on there. You guys are great.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man. And like, yeah, who fucking knows what we're all gonna do, and if
I know
we're
what I'm doing.
gonna, yeah. All right. So, what do we got here? Richard, you wanna?
Oh man, so many thoughts just going through my head. And listening to you guys has put a few things into a more positive perspective in a lot of ways. You know, um, I gotta think, Casey. Some of you guys don't know. I vlogged for Zenny62, and I appreciate Zenny for giving me a voice where I probably wouldn't have had as loud of a voice. It's been really cool to have people like, not just here in Oakland, but across the country. But oh, you're that guy who would, before it was talking about the Raiders and now the A's, and following this whole relocation saga. And I don't have any special expertise. I'm just an idiot. I'm just a fan with a camera. I'm a photojournalist. Um, and I just kind of that it just fell into it. But I've been an A's fan my whole life. I was a fan before I ever went to a game. I went to my first game was actually Ricky Henderson's first Oakland uh, appearance in '79. I was 4.5 years old. I was just a kid. And I had no idea what was going on. But it was the greatest day of my life. It was a great feeling. And then later on, as I got older, I mean, I was a kid like 8 or 9 years old, and we would ride our bikes from Richmond. Me and my little friends, we would literally ride our bikes from Richmond. Uh, we would go to the BART station, cut all the way down, and we'd get shooed away because we were looking through the slats in the fence to catch a game, or if we had enough money, uh, we'd get $5 bleacher ticket or whatever. Sometimes we'd even kind of finagle our way in. You know, uh, those are memories you're not going to take away from me. And then now I'm a dad, and my son's first game. He was only a few days old. Honestly, it's like, hey, we got these A's tickets. We're not letting them go to waste. We're taking the kid. And my kid has been spoiled by the A's in a lot of ways, by a lot of the fans. His first few years in the bleachers, they let him bang on their drums. Right field Will. I mean, he calls him Uncle Will. It's like these are guys that uh, my kid grew up with. Not just the players but the fans. And then uh, a lot of you Twitter guys, it's like, oh hey, what's up? And we'd see these people, and it was really funny. Is I never see you guys at the games. I always see you guys on the road. Um, it was really funny. Is we 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 would go, and it was never planned, at least not by me. Um, like, hey, we're going to go to this road game. Hey, the A's are going to be in Anaheim this weekend, or they're going to be in Houston, or they're going to be. Last year it was Washington D.C. and Baltimore, and a few years ago it was Chicago, and we would see, the same 15, 20 A's fans all the time. What was really funny is in Chicago, there was a nooner for the White Sox I think it was a Friday afternoon, and we had no plans with these other guys, and we drove up to Milwaukee. They had like a 5 o'clock game, and we went up to the game, and we saw all those same guys at that game, and it was it's pretty cool. You see these fans, but there's a community there, and I, I hate that that's going to be gone.
At least in that context, I'll see these guys at Sharks games. I might have to start going to Roots games. I'm not a big soccer guy. I don't understand the game yet, but there's a
Richard,
part of me though that also
soccer's super easy. You just don't touch the ball with your hands, and then ask somebody to teach you the onside rule, and you're pretty much there. You got it. You
yeah.
understand it.
And when does it end? Um, but aside from we're huge baseball fans. Baseball's our life. My son plays ball.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
coach baseball. We travel for baseball. Not just travel ball. I mean, but we have a select few games that we go to during, say, spring break, summer vacation and stuff. He's playing his first out-of-state tournament. We're going to Cooperstown, and it's like these are huge deals for us. And baseball's our life. But I can't imagine following the A's to Las Vegas. I already quit the Raiders, but following the A's to Las Vegas seems worse to me.
And it'll be everybody's choice, and I won't begrudge anybody.
Yeah.
You're not like a traitor if you keep following the A's, but somebody who's moved around to the country and stuff. I find it much easier to follow an NFL team from afar than a baseball team. There's just something about baseball is only really on the local cable, and I mean that there's you can watch it on the MLB app and shit, but
sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, right? Yeah, sometimes it's blacked out even if you don't even live there, and it's just the football is just like sort of this national thing, and everyone sort of knows, but like baseball teams like it's like why they have bad ratings for the World Series is because like people sort of only follow their team. They only follow their team, and your team is your team, and it's sort of like a secret that you and your fans hold, and it's a lot harder to follow. You can do it, but it's a lot harder to follow a baseball team from afar, and we've had a couple people on here from Idaho, from Tennessee, who follow from afar. So if you want to keep following them when they move to Vegas, but
it won't be me.
it's
I'll go
hard.
to a game. I'm going to go to one, so because that's my ultimately would like to go to every ballpark. That's the thing for me and my son. I guess we'll go to a ballpark, but it's not. We're not going to like it. It's going to be hard. To do that. It feels weird, but the one thing that I keep thinking about is like, Oakland's a great sports town. Great, it's a championship city, and we've had a great run over the decades between the Raiders and the Warriors and the A's. Multiple championships. And this reverse boycott really is a thing. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's never been our fault. It's been bad ownership's fault. We'll show up to a game if there's a reason to be there. But if you don't give us a reason, it's hard for us to come out. No matter how many friends we have there, we have to have a reason, and we haven't been given a reason for a long time. And one of the things that I keep thinking about is like, so if they take the A's from us, where does that leave Oakland? I'm like, they're still talking expansion.
Yeah.
Do we get a say in this? Do we become an expansion city? Because I'm an Oakland fan. I'm not necessarily an A's fan as much as I'm an Oakland fan.
Yeah, I don't
But
know,
I would
man.
say, what stops us from becoming one?
Well, I
should,
think I think the thing that stops us is just the fact that like it's a lot easier to build a stadium when you already, I don't know, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I don't
But
know.
like,
Maybe it makes sense to
but
me.
like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's tough, but yeah. Thanks so much,
Well,
Richard, man.
Yeah, I think we'd be in a better position than say Salt Lake City or Portland.
Not at all. Not at all. We're done. We're cooked.
I try to be positive about it. I mean, like I said, we have the fandom. We've shown that we can do it. It's just
Yeah, but we're
we
the
haven't had.
sixth largest media market in the country, and the A's are leaving us for the 40th largest media market in the country.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is there's something different at play here. It doesn't make sense, and I mean, and even
It does
the
make
Raiders have.
sense. They're getting $500 million from Nevada. That's what they're doing. They're getting $500 million.
Right. I
I think
understand
it's
that
just
point.
it was they couldn't get the city of Oakland to just
Bend over for him, yeah.
bend over for him, and they couldn't, and it was just too expensive to figure out all the land shit and the building shit in California,
It
and they
never
just
had
got
to
tired
be.
of it.
They never had to have a stadium proposal that involved building an entirely new city within the city of Oakland. They could
Yeah.
have just said, "Hey, we're building a stadium," and that's what they're doing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, which is really the thing that's the kick in the balls here is the fact that they're just going to go there without the ancillary, development. They're just going to go build a ballpark and just roll with it.
Because all the ancillary development was all a sham. It was all they did to delay the development in Oakland.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Dugonix, you've been waiting there for a while. You still on with us? You fell asleep? All right, maybe you fell asleep. Ed, what do you got?
Edward, I hope. Hal?
Yeah, go for it, baby.
Thank you so much for hosting this space. Thank you, Casey, for the continuous coverage. I just got to get these shout outs real quick. I've either encountered you guys over the years or experienced your energy, and it breaks my heart to know that it won't be somewhere like the Oakland Coliseum ever again, or, soon to be. And I've grown up an A's fan. I want to sympathize with the fans for a little bit. I remember being a little kid at the Coliseum when the seats were still orange, when you could still see the mountains, when it had one of the best bleacher areas before Mount Davis of all time. It was a baseball place. And then A's fans had to put up with the Raiders moving back. And I had season tickets to the Raiders when they moved back, section 122, row 20, seats 14, 15, 16. It breaks my heart the most that I experienced so many traditional things as an A's fan, as a Raiders fan at the Coliseum over the years that I won't get to pass on to my nieces and my nephews and the kids I've yet to have. It just kills me. I spent some time on the East Coast, college in Philadelphia, times at Yankee Stadium, Boston, and it's unprecedented that the city of Oakland is about to lose 3 sports teams in the span of 5-6 years, give or take. It's unprecedented. It's never happened before. It's never going to happen again. The teams with 3 professional sports teams out there, the cities with 3 professional sports teams out there, they're named Boston and Miami and New York and Chicago and Philadelphia and Los Angeles. Those teams aren't going anywhere. And whenever anybody brings up negativity or sentiment about, man, Oakland's losing another team, all this stuff, I tell them to count their blessings that they get to hold on to their teams. The Phillies aren't going anywhere. The Flyers aren't going anywhere. 76ers aren't going anywhere. And it's unprecedented. It's historic. So I'm very grateful that we're all here right now. I'm up later than I ever thought I would be, and that I'm sure Hal is. Just to share this space and to share these sentiments and everything. My first heartbreak as an Oakland A's fan was when they traded Mark McGwire in 1997. I was fortunate enough to see his last RBI, his last double as an Oakland A's fan. I want to say it was July 28th of that year. I was 11 years old, and I remember asking my older brothers, who were 10 years older than me, when they traded Mark McGwire, I was like, why? Why would you trade him? And they traded him for a bag of nuts. They traded him for 3 guys who I don't even think broke the major leagues. And then Mark McGwire went on to hit 70 home runs the very next year. And that began the perpetual cycle of falling in love and being heartbroken by the A's and what they could have been, and if they'd held on to certain players and their core and all that have you. Those that are as into the A's as long as I have been, the cycles I'm talking about. Whether it was McGwire at that time, whether it was Giambi and Mulder and Hudson and Zito and Chavez and Tejada and Sonny Gray and Josh Donaldson and Yoenis Cespedes and Josh Reddick and all these players that we watched rise to prominence literally in Oakland, only to go on to their next best life or never be heard from again in another city, in with another team. It just began this perpetual life cycle for me as an A's fan of like clinging on to hope and hoping again and clinging on to hope and hoping again. And today's especially heartbreaking because I think we've all given up the hope. I think it's never going to be something again. And going back to my original point, I just wanted to share the enthusiasm I had as a young kid at the Coliseum. I wanted to share tradition. I wanted to just cling on to that for life. And it's just never going to be. Just like all the hope for Cisco Field in 2005 or fighting against the Giants ownership over San Jose or what have you. It's just the perpetual life cycle and the resiliency of A's fans to hold on to the next best thing. And then when the next best thing was traded away, to wait for the next best thing and think our next best life was ahead of us. I will forever appreciate A's fans. And I think that's why this space right here is so special. And I think we all know our fellow A's fans that are so special to us and the reason for us being who we are and who we became and what we wanted to share. I just wish that I'd want to sit in section 120, 122, row 20 again, and it's just gone. I'm just wanting to share that.
I like those sections. Those are good. Those are good hot dog sections, man. Those are good. A lot of good hot dog eaters in the 120, 121, 122. All right, man. Uprooted. I want to hear from you.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. My name is James. You haven't heard my voice before. I run Uprooted. And honestly, one of the goals I had this year was to write more about the A's on our website and to do more than just live tweet the games. One of our goals, or my goals, I guess I should say, is to give traction of coverage on the A's online, especially on Twitter, which kind of felt like it took a step back once we lost Susan Slusser across the bay. So, in a much less organized way, I wanted to fill that space. I've been sitting here for 4 hours and I've written probably 3 sentences total, just trying to put my thoughts together on how I feel about everything that has come out of, I guess, really the last 4 hours, but realistically the last couple of years. They have not been easy, obviously, for anyone that's followed at all. The first thing I always think of is all the memories that I've had with my family growing up and going to A's games. I've grown up in the Bay Area. I grew up in Hayward. I still live locally, but it's harder to go to games now that I'm in my 20s and have a young family. But I still follow as much as I possibly can. And one of the first things, my oldest, who's now 3, was born up in Washington. I said, you cannot be a Mariners fan. We're going to put on the A's game and you're going to watch. Unfortunately, 3 years ago was COVID. So, kind of caught a bad break for when to start being a fan. There wasn't baseball that year. And I just feel, I guess selfishly, that I was always thinking that if this day were to come, it wouldn't be a big deal because realistically, it's harder and harder to live in the Bay Area. It's hard to afford living here long term. We're still paying rent. Rent's not cheap. People have talked about relocating themselves.
Yeah.
So from the realistic point of view, we could have moved before the A's did, and there was a hope in me that if the A's were to move, it were to happen after we would move, and it would be a long distance relationship if it were to come to that. Not that I ever wanted that, because I always thought about at least being able to come home to this shiny new Howard Terminal project and take my kids there or catch one more game with my dad there. But it's hitting me now that that's not going to be possible. And it's heartbreaking to think that my boys aren't going to have connected memories of going to the games with me like I do with my dad. And it's just not going to be the same in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm humbled by the fandom of, there's 250 of you here in the middle of the night, either listening or asleep listening. So, I've always thought to myself, the thing holding me back from starting Uprooted, even when I first thought about it years ago, was that I was not A's fan enough to do it. That there were so many better fans than me, fans that have sat in those orange seats and looked out to the hills, or that have been to way more games, or sat in the bleachers way more. And maybe I was just some guy who caught too many games in the lower bowl, right behind home plate, and that was just maybe a little too casual, but it hurts. And I hope that there is some light that comes out of this. But I know personally that what I'm going to do, even though my boys probably won't remember it a whole lot, is I'm going to take them to games, a couple day games when work allows. And, maybe Uprooted will go ghost for a day or two while we just kind of sit back, no phones, and enjoy it.
Yeah,
and yeah, I hate to be that guy that's getting emotional over a sports franchise, but
you're not, you're not. It's not a sports franchise. It's like, it's your community. It's your community, man. Like I felt like, I don't, we're, there's like an epidemic of loneliness in this country now. But like, when you go to A's games, you get to go out, get out of the house, you get to meet people, you get to commune with people. Like, I think sports is important. It's not, it doesn't have to be important to you. It's not weird if you don't like sports, but if you do, like, it's not stupid. Like, it's, after COVID, after like having to watch sports on TV and not be able to go there, and this is like permanent COVID for Oakland baseball, man. It just sucks.
it is terrible. And thank you, Hal, for hosting this and
Yeah.
for giving people a
And
space.
let me tell you, dude, you've been doing some amazing work. So and you should feel proud of that. I've really enjoyed your work.
I appreciate that, and appreciate anyone that is listening to me ramble and cry about my kids not going to A's baseball games in Oakland. I'll be the grumpy dad in Vegas, I guess. That'll just tell them about the good old days.
That's right. All right, dude. Thanks so much, man. Christian.
Hi, it's Christine.
Oh, Christine, it's cut off. The name's cut off.
No worries. Thanks. I put in a request like an hour ago and I didn't have my hand up, so thanks for letting me talk. I just want to give a big shout out to all the last dive bar people and you, Hal, for doing what the team should have been doing for the last several years of reaching out to fans and trying to make things fun. And they've been, really silent. I grew up in Concord and I started going to A's games in 1982. The teams used to give out free tickets for kids with B average grades. And my dad started taking us to A's games because we could take Bart. And so it was easier. He grew up a St. Louis Browns fan, so he was not a big fan of either Bay Area team. He wasn't a big investor in fandom, and now I know why, because he lost his team when he was a little kid. Then the team wasn't that great, and the first games we went to were sometimes you get blown out by Cleveland, and I learned that it didn't matter, that it was fun to be at the ballpark, win or lose, and seeing Ricky Henderson steal bases, and I moved to LA in the 90s. I was down there for 10 years, and I remember, I'd go to Angels games with friends, and they'd have, they've got a stupid waterfall, and I just remember thinking, like, some of these teams, they need these these giant Coke bottles and all this crap, and it's like, A's fans, we never needed any of that, I love that ugly stadium. I love it. And I was at one of the Mets games over the weekend, the one we almost won in extras. And it was a pretty good crowd, and I was so optimistic. I just felt like, we're going to do it, It's going to come back. We're all going to come back. And it's just been so devastating. And so I'm just really appreciative of you setting this up, because I was like doom scrolling, and it's just nice to be with people who care about this, because it is like losing a connection to all those memories of my dad teaching me how to score games using the program and that kind of stuff. So just thanks, and hugs to everyone who's feeling the same way as me. It's sad.
Yeah, man, I couldn't say it better than that. Couldn't say it better than that. Yeah, man. Brent, what do you got for us?
Hi, do you hear me?
Yep.
So the whole name is actually a Brent Rooker Stan account. I'm actually Brent Rooker's #1 fan based on his early season performance, but whatever. My name is Jamal. I am born and raised in Oakland. I'm talking to you from Oakland, and my glass half full take is I'm reiterating everything Cody said. I'm interested to see the reaction from MLB owners in the morning when they see the news. It just seems a little too like, yeah, this is happening and everyone's gonna vote yes for it, and it's happening. So I'm interested to see how the owners actually vote for this, but that's neither here nor there. I never really followed baseball a lot growing up until maybe I was 13. This was 2010, and that's when the Giants won their first World Series. And I remember it being such a huge phenomenon in the Bay Area, and thinking like, oh wow, this is really cool. The Bay Area, won the championship, whatever the World Series is, right? And then I was like, huh, Oakland has a team. I mean, like, I knew the A's were a thing, but I was like, huh, I wonder if the A's are anywhere near like World Series contention. And the next year, 2011, I went to the season opener. Josh Willingham was the big addition. He had a 2-run home run that day. I think they committed 5 errors, and Felix Hernandez threw a complete game. And I remember sitting in left field or right field behind Ichiro, and I was like, holy shit, that was really fun. I didn't even care we lost. So that was my first season of like really following them closely. And it just so happened that Moneyball came out that year as well. And I knew nothing of Billy Bean. I knew nothing of the early 2000s. And that movie was, the greatest sports movie I've ever seen. And I read the book immediately after, and I was like, oh, this is like, I missed out on so much. I want to know everything about this team now. 2012 happened, and they immediately won the division. And little do I know, this is actually like how quickly, like I'm thinking just, hey, the national media predictions are useless because the A's just won 93 games. And so I got in on a pretty good time. I remember going to a Dodger, and I remember in 2011, 2012, 2013, there were all these discussions of a new stadium. I followed the Fremont news intently. I followed the San Jose news intently. And I was okay with those options. I was always like researching BART extensions and seeing how closely the Cisco field and whatnot would be near a BART station. I was like, man, it'd be really cool to BART to the games in Fremont, San Jose, as long as they kept the Oakland name and kept the colors. Um, I remember in 2016 going to Dodger Stadium and seeing how well maintained it was and how packed it was, and thought of it as a pretty reasonable comp to the Coliseum, and thought to myself, hey, if the A's just kind of, did some makeup to the Coliseum, I don't really see that much of a difference. Plus, we have way better public transportation options and more freeway accessible. The ingress egress for the Coliseum is way better than Dodger Stadium. And then Dave Kaval joined in 2017, and that really kickstarted the ballpark efforts. And I remember being like, oh, this guy is like the shit. And I actually ran into him and John Fisher in January of 2018, I believe. This was after the Peralta news went to shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak to John Fisher, but I spoke to Dave Kaval, just super random. I went to the Chabot Space Center on the Embarcadero. Then I went to buy some ice cream. I swear to God, they were right in front of me in line buying ice cream. And I was like, hey, this was probably like a week after FanFest. And I was like, hey, you're Dave Kaval, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, hey, my name's Jamal. I'm a really big Ace fan. Sorry about the Peralta news. Are you guys back at it with the searching? He was like, yeah, we're looking at Howard Terminal. That we're kind of just gonna go all in there. And I was like, okay, right on. Well, go A's. And I don't know. It was kind of surreal because I don't know. I just kind of saw this guy as like a celebrity. I was like, man, this guy's gonna save the fucking team. You know what I mean? And whatever. And I remember reading every time the national media highlights like the A's attendance, I remember the book, the bombastic, fantastic book written by Jason Turbo, and it highlighted the 70s A's dynasty. And even then, the team was winning World Series and they weren't drawing well. But that was actually due to a lot of it was due to Charlie Finley. He was horrific at marketing the team. Really cheap, didn't put out like TV ads or radio ads. A lot of fans were writing letters to like buy season tickets, and he just didn't have any people in the front office like fielding those letters, or like it was just he just ran the team on like a skeleton crew. And like looking back, that was so horrific, and like not really grooming the future generations of A's fans, because obviously like the attendance has just always been lackluster. And he was like really eager to move after the 70s. He was trying to go to Denver, and that got vetoed.
Yeah.
And eventually he ended up selling it to the Haas family, and they were like the best owners A's have ever had. Even when they had to get out from selling the team, they wanted to sell to someone on a condition that they would not leave Oakland, and that's what the Schott family promised. So he sold it to the Schott family. Their searches really never amounted to anything, and at which point he sold to Lou Wolf and John Fisher. But I bring that up just because, aside from the Haas family, it just feels like everyone who has owned a team in Oakland has just been using Oakland to get a better deal elsewhere. And it's just really frustrating, especially as an Oakland native and someone who plans to be here and wants to raise their children here, that just no one wants to be in my city, honestly. With that being said,
Yeah.
like I work in like SF. I went to college in SF, and I love wearing my A's gear. And I love when people on the street in Oakland, in Berkeley, and SF, nod to me, say, hey, nice hat, nice jersey. Did you see the game today? It always, always, always strikes up an interaction by people who are not wearing A's gear. Even just taking a walk with my wife around the block, it always, always happens. And I just always knew that there's just a sleeping giant of Ace fan base in the East Bay, in Berkeley, Walnut Creek, Livermore, Dublin, and they just need players to be around to cheer for and a place to to frequent as a stadium. So I say all that to say I see the beauty in the city of Oakland, and for whatever red tape that there is in regards to building in California. A lot of teams have overcome it, whether
Yeah.
that's the Niners or the Kings or the Clippers. They're working on an arena, or the Warriors. So there is a way to make it happen. Anyways, I'm circling back all just to say I don't think they're goners as of yet. I know everyone.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that now, but
Yeah.
Dave Calvo, literally, Evan Jolick just put out a article on The Athletic with more extended quotes with Dave Calvo, and he, to surmise, he basically said, "Hey, we were on parallel paths for a while, but now we're focused on Vegas." And I don't know. Obviously, like, people are bracing for the worst, but we're a long, long way from them being out of the door. I am interested to see how the rest of the season shakes out with the home dates. I'm holding out hope that the owners reject this proposal, Fisher throws his hands in the air and sells it, and we're back at square one at the Coliseum, which I'll gladly take. Thank you.
Hal, you still there? Should I take over?
Yeah. Well, I think I think I might dip out here. It's real late here, but I'm gonna hand it over to Alex. We got some more people on deck who want to speak. I'll probably keep listening, but I'm about to fall asleep here, man. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and with people, I encourage you guys to keep talking, keep chatting, and I'm not really saying anything anymore here, so
Well,
thanks,
I
guys.
just want to say thank you to Hal for putting this together. I'm down to stay on for another, hour, whatever. Too. I see 16 requests and we have a few speakers left, so I want to hear from everybody. If you want something to say, for sure. But I just want to say thanks again to Hal for doing this. I think this was really incredible moment, honestly, just for Oakland A's history. And we all came to one place, and it was here, dude. So thanks, Hal.
Yeah, man.
Who's been waiting the longest? I guess I see Dominic. Dominic, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'm just. I don't even know what to really say. It's just kind of at a loss of words, like everyone else has been. I mean, I've been up for the past however many hours since it got announced. And it's funny just because I live all the way out in Reno, actually. So it's, living in the same state as where the A's are going to come. You'd think I'd be excited about it, but it's totally the opposite. I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area. The A's baseball it's been a tradition in my family. Because I can remember my grandparents telling me, how they take my parents to games, and my parents when they were young and they'd get out of high school and, they'd go down the Coliseum. And, it was just so cheap and everything. You go pretty much every day. And everyone else has said this already, but just that fact that I won't get to continue that tradition, I'll have kids and I won't get to say, hey, let's go to an Oakland A's game at the Coliseum or just anywhere in Oakland because that's not going to exist anymore. And, now it's like, even for me living in Reno, it's a good 4-hour drive to Oakland, to the Coliseum. It's a fun road trip, but now, if I want to go down to Vegas, it's either an 8-hour drive or spending extra money on a flight. So it's one of those things where it's, no matter where you are, no matter where, it kind of came from, it's one of those things where the Oakland culture and the experience, it's just something you can't take anywhere else. I mean, regardless of how people saw the Raiders, it was kind of the same thing. You take them out of where they originally came from and you move them to a tourist place like Vegas, and it's just that fan base is never going to be the same. And I hope that some of the diehards are able to, still make the trip here and there and still bring some of that culture there, but I know it's going to be hard. So it'll be sad to see how strong of a community Oakland has built for the A's and how big the fans are. I mean, I was just there the other day for the 73 anniversary game against the Mets, and it was a good turnout. I think it was about 17,000, and it's just every time you go, you just feel at home. You feel like it's family, and you feel safe, even though Oakland may not be the best place to be. But so no matter where you are, all you guys out in the Bay Area, and sending my thoughts to you guys from Reno. I know it's gonna hurt me a lot too, and it'll just be hard to keep following them. So, and then to the rest of you guys hosting this, I appreciate it. Kind of letting us just have a voice and all kind of come together and express ourselves, especially in this time, because I know we're all upset, and I'm sure we've all cried in the past couple hours. So that's all I want to say, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, yeah, they're losing this baseball team, but it's also like, this is just family memories. It's like people are getting rid of, for future generations, and it's too bad. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, people's families are affected by this. This is just like a good family time. It's like a family tradition for, generations of people. So, Carlos, I see your hands up. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
okay, perfect. Sorry. So I'm actually in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and currently a student at the University of New Mexico, and I got a class at 8 a.m., but I just can't fall asleep at the moment, simply for the fact with this news, being an A's fan my entire life, my great grandfather, who passed away in '09 watching the Raiders, he went to the first ever Oakland A's game at the Coliseum in 1968. He sat down the third base line and the third deck, last seat, closest to where the stairs are. They went to every World Series in the '70s. They went to the World Series in the '80s. They went to every game from '68 to 2000 before they moved back out to Albuquerque that they could in the Coliseum. And I grew up with stories of Ricky Henderson and Raleigh Fingers and Campy Campaneris. And I remember there was a time where I actually got to meet Campy, and I brought up my grandfather, and he's like, "Oh, I remember Frank. He was a great cook. I remember his tailgates." And John Blue Monota was with him, and it just happened to be my birthday during spring training. And he's like, "This is Frank's grandson," and he signed a ball for me for my birthday. It's just those memories. I have a letter from Reggie Jackson to my grandfather, thanking him for things. My grandmother, I watched every game with her from 2010 to when she passed in June of last year. And it's going to be hard because the first A's game I ever saw at the Coliseum was with my grandmother in 2010 when we played the Diamondbacks. And if I remember correctly, we walked it off in the 10th inning, and it was so much fun. And it was right after root beer float night. So I had a Dallas Braden root beer float night mug growing up. One of my mom's dear friends worked at the Coliseum behind home plate, and she would always send me stuff. And being in Albuquerque, I don't really get a chance very often to even see the A's. But, being a AAA city with Albuquerque and the Isotopes, being able to see the Aviators or the Sounds, or when they were with Sacramento, going and see all those teams and seeing these prospects come up, it's just going to be hard. And being an A's fan in what really is a Dodger town, with the Dodgers having their AAA team here for what felt like ever, it's hard. And I've had friends, and I work for the Isotopes. I've had coworkers reach out since the game ended after tonight against Oklahoma City, just asking if I'm okay. And it's been a tough night. And I think it's more for the fact of, like we were saying, those memories. And like Jack, I can't go to Oakland as much, and but I'm still watched from afar. And my buddies are Dodger fans, and I got Yankee fans that are buddies with I got Braves fans, and I think I'm one of the only A's fans in New Mexico, other than my mother who grew up in Oakland. But it's just, my mind's racing tonight, and it just hurts. It just hurts a lot because and like people have said here, I'm never going to get the chance to share memories at the Coliseum. I was at what we thought was going to be the Raiders' last game in Oakland, Charles Woodson's last game at the Coliseum, and just the mood at the Coliseum was just joyous because everyone was just enjoying their time there. And I hope I can make it out to Oakland. Sorry, I'm going to cry again. Because all those memories with my grandpa and my grandmother, and they're no longer here. But I always had the A's games with them. I grandma, she had dementia, but whenever the A's came on, she remembered the players and she knew who they were, and she loved Eric Sogard. She loved Eric Sogard when he was with us, and she still followed him, and she never understood why he would bat ninth. But it's those memories that I'll no longer be able to have with my kids or my grandkids, and tell them stories of the great A's teams of Coco Crisp and Donaldson and Cespedes, and Matt Olson, Chapman, being able to watch DB's perfect game with grandma on Mother's Day too. It's just hard, and I haven't given up hope yet. I'm good friends with Kurt, who was on earlier, and we've been chatting throughout the night, but it's just I feel like I can't really help as much from Albuquerque other than spread awareness. And I can only imagine how everyone is feeling in the Bay Area. And I appreciate everyone that's still on here and has helped. And, the last dive bar giving me jokes and laughing and, really showing the joy of the bleachers of when my mom grew up out there in the bleachers, and my uncles and everybody growing up out there, and these great stories. And sorry to go on for a little bit long, but it's just been a really hard night for me.
No, man, that's what we're here for, man. Thank you very much for sharing that. I know this is really deeply personal for a lot of people. So, Elijah, I've seen your hands up. You want to go ahead, Elijah?
Hi. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
go for it.
sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, I've got kind of not really a unique experience, but I was born in '03, and my parents and my family are not really sports fans. I just kind of developed an interest in baseball when I was little, and I've always ridden hard with the A's and all the teams from the East Bay. I'm originally from Berkeley. Um, but basically, I don't know. I w I've never rooted for the SF teams. I've always been East Bay, and I stayed a Raiders fan when they left. I switched from the Warriors to the Kings when they moved to SF, and I'm happy about that now. So I'm taking solace in that now. But nothing has felt the same, obviously, since the Warriors left Oakland and since the Raiders left Oakland as well. I mean, it's just not the same, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that right now. Um, but so I went to my first A's game, I think in 2011, but I really have my first good memories from 2012, going to a couple games then and following the team. And um, when my parents split up, being a little kid, just coming into like, 10, 11, 12, following the A's when I could was kind of just like one of the things that I use to just stay happy and forget about some things. And I've always just felt a very deep connection to the A's. And if you scroll all the way down on my Twitter, my first tweet was from 2015, I think, when I was like 12, and it's a selfie when I got to meet Coco Crisp when he was randomly at the line when I was entering the stadium. I think it might have been one of his bobblehead days or his known day or something like that. I always used to go to the giveaway games. That was my favorite when I could was fortunate enough to get a 24 game season ticket package as a Christmas gift from my grandfather for the 2014 season. I'll never fucking forget it. Um, that was really special to me. Anyways, I just wanted to share a couple random memories from my time being an A's fan. And yeah, just I'm sending huge love to all of us sending huge love to all of us tonight as Ace fans because I've been able to stick with the Raiders. I said fuck the Warriors for moving to SF. I've no fucking clue. Sorry for cursing. I've no fucking clue what I'm gonna do uh with this team, man, because I love baseball. I got back into MLB after a couple days off. After the wild card loss in 18, I couldn't watch for 19, but in 2020 I got back into it. And this team has just been, I mean, I don't know. I've been through things and this team has always been there with me. Um, I was really hoping that one day, like so many of you, I could pass it on down to family members and kids if I ever had them. And without, I haven't been able to really process it yet because I haven't cried yet. But as I'm speaking, I'm crying and hearing everyone else here. It's been amazing. So, anyways, let me wrap my shit up right now. Sending
All good, man. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
sending huge love to everyone. I hope you could hear me okay. And also, quick shout out to Blake Anderson in the listeners. I always thought you were really cool for being a celeb and an A's fan because there's not too many. So huge green and gold hearts to everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you, Elijah. Yeah, I agree, dude. It's like I feel like this one cuts deeper. Like if the A's are your team, like I grew up in the East Bay, I grew up in Moraga, but I'm like, you know, I love the A's, Raiders, and Warriors. Those are my teams, but the A's were my team. So there's a difference. I can't explain it, but this one cuts deeper. Like I can still watch the Warriors. I thought I was gonna stop watching the Raiders, but I still watch them, to be honest. And but this I'm not gonna be able to watch the A's. I can't explain it. Like this is I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it going. Coliseum Sewage, you want to go ahead? I see you're up here on the speakers. No, you good, man. Edward, how about you, Edward? You here? How about Blake? Blake, you want to jump on? People want to hear from you, man. People love you, Blake. You want to get on here? I invited Blake as a speaker.
Not sure if Blake's here. Edward's still here.
Edward, all right. What's up, Edward?
Hey, just want to continue sympathizing with the people that say they won't be able to share future memories with their kids, with their grandkids, pass on traditions, because that's been Oakland to me my whole life, and I want to point this out too. When the Raiders moved to Vegas, that was a gut punch for Oakland when they announced they were moving to Vegas. But I gave up rooting for the Raiders the day they traded Khalil Mack, September 1st, 2018, if I remember correctly. That was them making the initial steps to punt the present for the future. And this current A's ownership, this current A's team has been doing that for a while now. Constant teardowns, rebuilds, teardowns, rebuilds. We've lived through trading all-stars that became MVPs. We've lived through homegrown talents that go on to become monumental in other cities. I've mentioned it before. McGuire, Donaldson, Cespedes had his moments, all that stuff. We just kept waiting for the next and kept waiting for the next and kept waiting for the next. And I just want to say, not only do I not think Las Vegas is a baseball town, I don't at all. Baseball is not a sport that you just come pass by. I'm in town. I'll watch a baseball game. It's not built on that. It's built on hardcores. And I used to go to Raider games since they moved back in '96. And my cousins and I would point out the random opposing fan in the stands. We'd be like, hey, look at that Broncos fan in section 332. It'd be like a Where's Waldo thing. And it wasn't because of the intimidation factor. I'm not focusing on that. It's just that Oakland was never a destination city. It was never the vacation town. Nobody in the history of ever has taken a vacation to Oakland. And that's not a defense to Oakland. I've grown up around there. I work in Oakland to this day. I'm going to work in Oakland, downtown Franklin Street off 19th tomorrow. Not speaking bad about Oakland. It's just that the Raiders used to have this incredible home field advantage, this incredible home field audience. 99.9% of the fans in Oakland for a Raiders game were wearing black and silver and black. And then they moved to Vegas. And they've experienced in 3 years what's inevitable for the A's or any other team that goes to Vegas. It's that the away fan, that's a destination city. If I'm a Chiefs fan, Broncos fan, Patriots fan, Steelers fan in football, and I'm going to go to one away game a year, Las Vegas is the city. 3 days. Book me. I'm going to have a 3-day parade down there and go to a game one of those days. Baseball might be slightly different, but the picture I'm trying to paint is Las Vegas will pick up no hardcore fans. If it becomes the Las Vegas Athletics and they want to wear green and gold, it won't be history carrying over. It won't be new fans that are made that are going to bleed those colors. And that's just a shame, because the fans that have supported this for so long, for all the teardowns and rebuilds, they have been hardcores. They have bled green and gold. And that's not going to happen in Vegas. The Aviators might be a great draw. There might be people at the game, but they won't be invested in the game, and they won't care about the history. And that's maybe one of the things that pains me the most about the A's potentially moving to, of all cities, Las Vegas. Like, I would prefer Portland or Nashville, somewhere with a fresh start, somewhere with a homegrown community, but it's not Vegas, and it just hurts twice as bad as when the Raiders left. And again, I just want to sympathize with the people that grew up at the Coliseum, the people that want to continue traditions at the Coliseum. Las Vegas is not the city to continue those traditions. So thank you to everyone that's been supporting everything in Oakland. It unfortunately won't ever be the same, especially in Las Vegas.
All right, thanks, man. Yeah, I haven't even thought about just the green and gold A's running around a field in Las Vegas. That just seems weird to me. I haven't even wrapped my head around that. But I want to have Last Dive Bar to jump back on. Is it Paul? Is it Brian?
Man, it's Brian. Stop it. Paul's on here, and I got to be careful with what I'm talking about, because he is my boss. He's the actual 33.4% owner of Last Dive Bar, so I'm actually an employee, so I got to watch what I say. But I kept thinking when everybody was talking, that one song by Tim McGraw, "Live Like You Were Dying." So if you were told, right, and right now, that in September, right, early October, you're going to die, right? How are you going to live your life? So if you listen to that song, Tim McGraw, if you haven't heard it, even if you don't like country, I don't even like the song, but listen to the words, right? That's what I'm going to do. And that's what Last Dive Bar is going to do. We're going to hop on a meeting very soon, probably tomorrow, with a couple of head members of Oakland 68s and make sure that we do this the right way for the fans, right? I'm not supposed to tell secrets about Last Dive Bar, but I will, right? So I keep hearing all these stories about all these players, these Oakland legends, right? Well, we got show coming up with KD, right? Chris Davis. He reached out to Sandlot 408 over on Instagram because Tony Kemp told him, don't worry, these fans will know what to do. Fans, us, fans. And so guess what? He's headlining a show with Mike Gallego. You might know him, right? Second baseman, all-time great. And guess what? NorCal Nodders has bobbleheads of him. Remember that little teaser I did of Chris Davis with the bobblehead? Yeah, Chris Davis will be there. He'll be signing bobbleheads. You can buy them there. There's going to be 60, 70 tables. That's going to be June 24th. May 20th, Dave Stewart, a bunch of Sacramento Kings. You got wrestlers. You got all sorts of Jose Canseco. We'll be at that show, right? And then we got shows all throughout the year. And we got theme nights. And screw it. The theme night coming up on the 28th is Mario and Friends, okay? Mario and Friends. Sorry, Paul. You're probably going to yell at me. And I know you've been drinking, right? But live like you were dying. And guess what? If you want to mourn already, you can mourn. And that's okay. But we're going to fucking rock this place, and we're going to fucking go out with a bang. We're going to go out till the wheels fall off. And then after they leave, I got plenty of time to cry. But if you want to cry now, that's okay. And I probably will too, because Carlos, I feel you, man. The reason I put on that vest in 2019, I used to sit with my dad, and we sat in the 80s, right? When pins were huge and everybody had a vest on, right? So it was normal. And so I just did that to pay homage. And that's why I wore the vest, right? Because of me and my dad, right? Well, my dad's actually dying of Alzheimer's. And the last time I saw him, I told him about Last Dive Bar, and he said he was proud of me. And then he asked for 2 cookies, and he thought I was his doctor, right? And so yeah, so he's dying right now. And my favorite actual design from Last Dive Bar is Hindu Land. Why? Because when I sat in those very seats, I used to look up in those bleachers, and those guys were just crazy. And on the other side, you had the Bad Boys Club. They were kind of like the Oakland 68s, right? And so you had these 2 groups, and they were just crazy. But guess what? Every year they meet with Dave Henderson's family, and they do a Hindu's Golf Classic. And we actually sponsor Chase, his son, that has Angelman syndrome. We sponsor his cart every year. And this year, I'm actually going to go just to go. And every last second, every last pitch, I'm going to hear the crack of the bat. I'm going to smell the grass. I'm going to see the smiles, see the inspiration. And then we'll figure out what Last Sidebar does after, everything or whatnot. But we're going to listen to you guys, fans. So if you want us to turn heel, let us know. Because after a certain point, we might be able to. And if but we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Sorry, Paul. I know I let on a little bit too much, but, and we got a lot of shit dropping too. We ordered a bunch of shit that we haven't even told you guys for this. We are here, and we're here. Whether the A's leave, which looks like they will, guess what? We're still fucking here, and our memories are still here. And everything that we've had is family. I heard tears on there, right? Carlos, man, I feel what you're going through. I'm going through the same shit. And my only uncle, he died as well. At the same time, my dad forgot who I was. So A's is all I got and my family, right? So it's way bigger than baseball. And I know a lot of you are on here and have worked with Last Dive Bar and some of the personal stuff that we've done that we don't actually make public, the GoFundMes and stuff. There was a very popular A's fan that passed away not too long ago. He died in our blanket. And that says it right there. And there was a staffer that worked for the very large news syndicate that placed an order just so that person could, die in our hoodie. And you can't make that. You just can't make that stuff up. So I've talked too much, but you guys mourn how you want, but decide when you want to mourn. And I'm personally going to ride this shit till the wheels fall off. And actually, they're getting stolen, right? They're not even falling off. They're getting stolen from us. But fuck it, I can ride on rims. I can ride on the axle, right? Actually, I can ride a bike because I don't have a truck right now because it's totaled. But you know what? I don't give a shit because I'm going to enjoy every last fucking minute I have watching Oakland.
We got to find out where that old Bart golf cart used to go.
Fuck,
Remember that Bart golf cart
guess
they drove
what?
around? We got to hijack that.
Yeah, we'll buy it. We'll fucking buy that golf cart and we'll drive around the remains of the Coliseum. I don't give a shit. We're going to celebrate this. Whatever you want to see, send DMs to Last Dive Bar. Don't worry, we'll know what to do with all your memories and everything. And so we put the fans first. We're fans, and we're going to reach out to the 68s very soon, probably tomorrow, and say, yo, guys, what the fuck we going to do? So we don't know what we're going to do, but I know what me and Paul are going to do. Well, he's probably going to yell at me, but, and damn, I shouldn't drop this, but we got a big box. I teased this box, this shipment that came in. So it's actually en route. I don't know, maybe Paul can talk about it, but they make noise, and we have thousands coming. So they're going to be very annoyed at fans. Everybody is. They think drums were a problem. What happens when you add what we're about to add to drums? It's going to get real fucking loud. So everybody show up to June 13th because you're a fucking fan and you deserve to fucking be there. And if you're one of those fans that's out of state and you were not sure about coming, if you come see me in section 138. But let me know that you're coming, and I'll make sure that you have a swag bag filled with every fucking memory of that Coliseum inside that swag bag. So if you're coming from out of state, DM me. If you're making a decision and you don't know, just fucking do it. It might be the last time you get to see it in Oakland. Just fucking do it. I will make sure that I don't give a shit. I'll make sure every single one of you that flew in from another state have a swag bag filled with memories. So with that being said, I'm going to listen. I'll cry later, but listen to that song, Live Like You Were Dying, and then make a decision how you want to live out these rest days of the A's. Because I know the 68 is going to be drumming away. I know we're going to be cowbelling away. And probably both of us are going to have middle fingers in the air. And it's okay because we're going to do it together as fans because that's all we've ever fucking done. So with that, I'm going to mic off. And Ricky, I've been a long-time fan, long-time listener of yours. Geez, man, you're my favorite podcast, man.
Thanks,
I love
man.
you, bro.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.
You too,
Fuck,
man. Hope everything's all right with you and your family, man.
Up, bro. I gotta go.
All right, man. Andrew, I hope you're all good, Brian, you and your fam. Andrew, go ahead, man. And also, by the way, guys, my name's Alex. So if but you call me Ricky, that's all good too.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Brian. I really wish I could come out for the June 13th game, but I'm up in Oregon at school, and it's going to be finals week. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I really want to, though. But, I mean, I'm only 19, and I just like I grew up at the Coliseum. I've been a fan like since I was just really little. My parents were never like they were never really sports fans, but I turned them. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if I'm frozen.
No, go for
Yeah,
it.
we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if my phone froze for a sec. But I turned my parents into A's fans, and my mom's a photographer, and she actually took pictures of Billy Bean's family, and didn't know who he was until my dad was like, Billy Bean, like you don't know who that is? And I got to meet him like when I was a kid, and I've been to his house. Like I watched MLB Network on his couch while my mom was like photographing his family, and I mean I've been to like 7 opening days in a row with my dad. Obviously, not counting 2020. Well, I went to one playoff game in 2019 when we lost, but the atmosphere was electric, and we had tickets to the 2014 playoffs while we were up 7-3 in the wild card game. But I mean, it's just like so many memories at the Coliseum with my family and with my friends. And my dad and I even try to go to a road game or a road series every year that the A's play in. Like we've been to St. Louis, we've been to Colorado, we've been to LA, of course, San Diego. It's just like it just sucks. And like baseball has been my favorite sport ever since I was so young, and it's like just not going to be the same. Like I don't know how I'm going to watch baseball. And even I was thinking like obviously the team, like the product on the field right now is horrible, and there's really not many connections we have to players like we did with like Coco, Donaldson, the Mats, everyone. But I mean like the connection I feel is to Glenn and to Dallas. And if they like if we go to Vegas, I mean NBC California is not going to be broadcasting, I'd assume. And like if those guys aren't commentating the games, I don't know how I'm going to watch it. Like it's really not the same. Like
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a major void. It's like baseball is because there's it's like half the year basically you're locked into this thing.
yeah.
It's gonna be a major void for sure, dude.
Like I almost feel like if they just rebranded the whole team and like stopped using the green and gold and stopped using the athletics, like it would just be easier to just like let it go. But
Yeah.
I just don't know what I'm gonna do. And I mean I love baseball, but I don't know how I can. I don't know if I need to find a new team. I don't know how I can still support this team. It's just it sucks.
Yeah, it's
I don't know
crazy.
what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's gonna be weird. All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul, you want to go ahead?
Yo,
What's
Alex.
going on? What's going on,
Hey man,
Taco?
did something happen tonight?
No, just hanging out, dude.
Just hanging out, like
yeah.
A's fans hanging out at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
on
just a couple
Twitter.
hundred A's fans hanging out at 2 in the
Like
morning.
A's
No
Twitter
biggie.
is fucking lit at 2 a.m. You just never knew this, right?
Yeah. Hey, Paul, introduce yourself. You're 1/3 of the last dive bar.
I am 1/3 of yeah, I guess I should, huh? I am the member that nobody knows about. I am the ghost in the darkness. I am the thief in the night. What is the Darkwing Duck line? I am I'm the guy in the back that knows all your addresses. I see everything. Hey, so I feel like the A's here are just okay. So with Dive Bar, right? We've kind of embraced the grunge. We've embraced the Coliseum, right? And I feel like the A's have just dodged that and tried to seek what the Giants have seeked, right? The nice, fancy, bougie, we eat kale, bullshit. And walking around the Coliseum, handing out pins and taking pictures with people, like, has kind of opened up my eyes over the last year to that, like, I think the A's are really missing out on the green collar baseball aspect of these fans. And I don't know who is going to be able to clean up in that market. I hope Dive Bar does, but it's just kind of wild that everything is just kind of sprung on us, and we're gonna try to make this as lively as we can while shit's going down.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys are trying to. I mean, there's two ways you can either just. I think it's a moment to celebrate. I mean, it sucks. Like, obviously, you're giving money to John Fisher or whatever, but I think it's a moment to celebrate Oakland baseball while it's here, because for all we know, they could just play at the Aviators ballpark next year. So
they might, and they could. You never know. You never know. But like the calendar last year that we did, it was huge. It was like our best selling fucking thing last year, and we only
people
sold
love
it
the
for like
Coliseum.
because
It's all
people
about
love
the
the Coliseum.
Man. Yeah,
And we only sold it for like a month. Like we have like 6 left at the moment, and I just sent like 3 of them to a radio guy in New York. Like, we're just trying to get rid of the last couple of ones we have, and I feel like they are just letting this slip through their hands because they want the shiny object. And I just kind of want to embrace that. People. I'm sorry, I'm kind of drunk. People need to like just kind of keep your chins up. Like this isn't anything on us. They did this to us, and we're gonna try to blow this up and make them regret it for the last couple of months of the season. And I'm gonna do everything in my fucking power to bring your ass to the Coliseum into section 138 and take my free fucking pins. And I used to sell the last 2 games where I've given out free pins. I've been telling people, "Oh, here's a free pin. Welcome to my sales funnel," right? Trying to get them back to the Dive Bar website. But like now, it's gonna be like, "Here's my free pin. Welcome to the fucking cult. We're gonna fucking make this shit like fucking big." And I haven't talked to Brian about this. I haven't talked to Carl about this. This is kind of me freeballing here, but I want to turn heel. I really want to turn heel, and I want to make these guys fucking like regret this shit. Without being as vulgar as I am right now. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we have so many things down the pipe right now that we can't turn back on, that I'm just going to put into a giant shotgun. And I saw Jay is on here. Rob was on here earlier. Like, they are my compadres in this. We are going to make the last days of Oakland Coliseum, like, people are going to remember this. And the noisemakers that Brian was talking about, these are fucking bells. I have bells coming that we are going to like rock the Coliseum. And if I have to give these fucking things away and if I have to buy tickets right under where the recording booths are for the TV shows, for the fucking broadcast, like, I'm going to rock this fucking place like no one's ever gonna fucking believe. I'm gonna buy Peter fucking Frampton and put Peter fucking Frampton in the fucking treehouse. Like, let's fucking go. They're gonna miss us. They're gonna miss us. They're not gonna have this stuff in Vegas. And I understand where everyone's coming from with like sharing the memories and stuff, but like, like, now they've made their move. Now we can make our move. And I think the June 13th game is even more important. Like, we've already had people like reach out to us and ask us, what are we going to do about June 3rd? We got to move it up. We got to move it up. We got to move it up. I don't think we got to do anything. I think we have to better coordinate. And I think we just got to fire up the troops. Like, let's do this. Let's make this a fucking memory. People are going to,
go out
Casey
guns blazing.
Casey Pratt is gonna like make a recording about this and talk about it in 15 years when he's old and gray. And like, let's make this a fucking thing. Let's go, people. Come on, let's go. I'll bring my dog. My dog's all hyper. He hears me getting hyper. He's like right up in my
Well, you
face.
mentioned Jay. See Vuvu Jay with your hands up. Are you left field bleacher?
Oh yeah, you can catch me
Oh
in left
yeah,
field bleachers on
baby.
a Friday night, ripping the vuvuzela. If you haven't seen me out there, you probably heard me.
You know,
Obnoxious as
homie
all hell.
Jay here. He's the one who has the jersey that says "Last Ibar" on the back.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, I
sir.
saw you and
You see me.
Rob doing the bash. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
In
sir.
that
That was
photo.
me.
Yeah.
Yep. You catch me in the last dive bar or the Ray Fosse jersey with a bunch of patches all over it. That's usually how you can recognize me at the collie. But yeah, man, I'm kind of echoing a lot of the sentiment as Paulie and Brian, man. It's rough night, you know. It's devastating news. I, like everybody else, have generations of my life attached to this place. You know, I've been going since I was a little kid in the early '90s. Parents and grandparents going pretty much since it opened. So of course it's sad, but hey, there's not much I can say that hasn't already been said. So I try to be a little more positive. I guess I'd say, you know, for the hardcore A's fans that are still listening and that have been going to the Coliseum and wearing bash arms and raising banners and flying flags and beating drums, you know, you've done fucking great, man. Hang your head high. You know, be proud of yourselves. We're not the problem. You know, I know this feels like a loss and like a failure, and I feel a little bit of shame just being attached to how bad the Oakland A's name has gotten. You know what I mean? Just if you bring up being an A's fan these days, everyone just makes fun of us and just kicks us while we're down and shit. But the people that have
Hallelujah.
really gone out there and really supported this team through the thickest and thinnest of thin, man, be proud of yourselves. We've had a hell of a run. Talk about just, you know, making the best with what we've got, shining up a turd and making it a fucking disco party. Like nobody, you know what I mean, dude? Be proud of yourselves. You know what I mean? There's fans that come from Boston and New York and Cleveland and whatever, and you know, even on like some of those highlight reel segments that show like wacky ballparks or whatever, like A's are always a part of that shit. You know, like we are legends. You know what I mean? We are part of the legendary people from this region that make the Oakland A's fan base what it is. You know what I mean? I would even say notorious. You know what I mean? We're always going to be remembered for how hard we went for this team and just our spirit, our you know, everything, man, our camaraderie. It just man, yeah. We've had a hell of a run, boys. So don't, you know, it's sad, of course, it's devastating. It's not totally over like people are saying, but I'd say, yeah, man, all my people out there that are hurting tonight, man, hang your head high, chest out, chin up. You know what I mean? We've done our part. We've done good, man.
Absolutely, man. I agree. I think Oakland A's fans, there's no fan base like the Oakland A's fans, man. And it's been like that for decades too. It's not like it's just like, yeah, it's always been like this, and it's amazing. And it's just kind of this quirky tradition that's been passed down since the '70s and Crazy George and all that. So,
Yeah,
and now
and there's
it's
no
alive with
podcast like the
everybody else.
GOAP too. Let me say, Alex, you're
Look at Jay
I've been
here.
following the
Look at Jay.
podcast for you. I feel like I know you already, bro. You got to pull up on the bleachers sometimes, meet you in person. I feel like I
Yeah,
know
I
you
got
a
to
little
come
bit
over
from.
there sometime. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro, you've
brother,
been
for
dodging my
sure.
pens. What the hell?
I come out there
But
like a
yeah,
couple
appreciate
times a
what you
year.
do, man. The fan
Thank
base
you.
and the heartbeat of our fan base wouldn't be what it is without, you know, the hardcore fans like us and the outlets like you and all the podcasts and YouTube guys that just keep it going, man. You know, rain or shine, contention year or tank, sell everybody year. You know what I mean? We do our thing. We bring the heat. So
I
Oakland
mean, that's
fans, we the
almost kind
shit.
of what. Yeah, that's almost kind of why I started. I feel privileged. Like I kind of wanted to capture because I figured this is definitely a possibility. So it's like if this is the end of Oakland baseball, I want to kind of capture it. So all those
Go out with a
times
bang, baby. We can't go
yeah, and
out
I met,
sorry.
yeah, it's been great to meet all these people through Twitter in real life, and it's a really fun community. But yeah,
For
thanks a
sure,
lot,
man.
guys. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Hey, Patrick, go ahead. See your hands up. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was, I was in really rough shape when I first saw the news. I was in tears, got out the tequila, and was feeling really rough. And then I found this Twitter space, and it kind of really, I think highlights the community here. And a little about myself, I was born in Oakland in the '80s, and grew up with the Bash Brothers, and I just wanted to thank Alex and Last Dive Bar and Hal, and everybody that's really been a part of this community. I moved to Portland about 10 years ago, and so I've been following from afar, but I always make the annual trip down. My folks still live in Oakland, and we always go to at least one game a year. And I'm actually getting married the weekend after the reverse boycott, so I won't be able to be there. But I just wanted to thank everybody and sort of maybe highlight some of the good things that some of the positives, since this is obviously an awful night. But um, Derek Norris's walk off against the Giants, Ramon Hernandez's bunt, um, coming back from 5 back with 10 to play or whatever it was in 2012.
Yeah, game
there's some.
162 was always going to be the top. Game 162 was the best, man. That was
Yeah,
so
man.
crazy, man.
Yeah, and just so many great memories, and I'm not an active part of the community locally anymore, but like I said, I try to get down every year, and just how much everybody means, and it's just just there are good things here, right? And let's just kind of take a second to remember all the good times too. If this is the end, there, I don't, it's rough, but you know, uh, Chapman going in the dugout for the catch and the throw from Cespedes, and there's just so many good memories to fall back on, and yeah, just want to thank everybody and appreciate the opportunity to speak, and um, yeah, I guess that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. How about the Twins? You there, the Twins?
Yes, sir. Hello,
Yo,
hello.
what's going on?
Good. Nothing much. I had like a decent day at work, and I just got home, and I'm like, oh, let me check Twitter because I haven't checked it all day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Hal's hosting something. Let's see what it's about. And I'm like hearing the convo about the A's leaving, and I'm like, what? And then I'm checking the timeline, and everybody I follow is posting about it. I'm like, there's no way, dude. This
Crazy
can't be
news dump.
real.
Yeah, crazy news dump, man.
And
9
so
o'clock on a Wednesday night. Yeah.
it just started hitting me like, oh my God, dude, this is either this season or the next season might be the last. I think I heard for sure that next season is the last season they'll have the lease, but if the stadium isn't built, then they'll have to stay there for like however long until then. But like I just posted a tweet about it, like a couple of pictures. I was like, I'm making the most out of the season. I already started trying to make the most out of it by going to like 7 or 8 games already, and it's like I'm trying to meet more people on Twitter and stuff. I got the opportunity to go to the right field bleachers and meet a couple of the Oakland 68s, and I posted a picture of me holding a drum because I texted that to my family. I'm like, I'm one of them now, and like just I'm only 20. And so I wasn't able to be there for the prime Oakland A's, And so I was able to grow up and watch on TV like 2013 their season, like the top tier A's like back in the day,
Like
and just like
Ricky and Mark McGuire and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and then like my dad's from LA, so he's a Dodger fan, and he got me liking the Dodgers as well. So it's like I know there's the Dodgers. I sorry, I'm just like I got so much I want to say, but I don't want to take too much time. But it's like it's crazy going to the Coliseum like it's your home, right? And then you go. I've been to Dodger games so many times, but it's like it's not the same. You don't get the same feel as if you're actually at the Coliseum. You get to meet all these people and hang out and stuff. It's like LA is just a big old city. They're gonna have that fan base and fill up the whole stadium every day. But the Coliseum is like it's like you get to go with your family and have fun and just hang out, and it's gonna suck just not being able to do that again. I know we have Oracle Park. I'm not a Giants fan, and most of the fans I respect a lot, but the majority of them just don't make it feel like home. And so Like being able to be friends with Stomper and his security, and every time we go and he sees us, he recognizes us because I'm a twin, hence my name. And so whenever we go together and we walk around, and most of the workers remember us like on the field level. And so it's like just being able to hang out and then talking to Kara and her security Lonnie. They're just the two best like people in the whole stadium. And my brother and I were thinking of like making Kara a shirt because we used to call her the Hey Fans lady because every time she opens up, she goes, "Hey fans, I'm in section blah blah blah," you know. And so it's like we're not gonna be able. I mean, I know we could hang out outside of the Coliseum, but it's not the same. Like when we're at the Coliseum, it's like we know we're here for a good time, win or lose, whatever. And maybe if it's extra innings, it's like the best, you know, just being able to be there just a little bit longer. And I was able to go to the 1973 reunion, luckily, just before I had to go to work, and it was so cool seeing the retro scoreboard again, because like that's the scoreboard we grew up with, and yeah, it's my little rant, I guess. And then
No, yeah, dude.
I got to meet Brian last season, but I haven't seen him at all this season. And then I wanted to meet Paul, but I think he was away during the time I went. And for the mustache pin that Friday night, I met NorCal Nodders and I forgot his name. I met Mike Davis and then a couple of other people that night. So I want to definitely go a lot more this season and try and meet more people and just get more connections and hang out and stuff, you know?
Yeah, man, the Coliseum's great, dude. It's like, I mean, it's almost like the benefit of having so few fans is like you kind of form intimate relationships and friendships with these people. Like, I don't know, it's such a smaller community. It's easier to meet people in a way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the Coliseum's, it's sweet, man. You go to the bleachers, you probably have some friends by the end of the night. So,
And it's also cool because it's like most of the security doesn't they don't stop you and like they used to like you, I already know not to go and try and sit in like behind home plate areas and stuff like that, but if I wanted to go into the bleachers, they're like, yeah, you're good, go ahead. So it's like it's cool. The workers, there's workers that have been working there for so long, like I said, Lonnie, he's been working there for over 40 years, and he remembers us from like a couple of years ago. And once the pandemic hit, we were kind of worried. We're like, oh my god, are they gonna remember us? Because we used to go out and say hi to them, and now they're just like family to us. Our parents have been able to meet them, and they're so cool with us. It's like they just make us feel so welcome. And I always this season I'm trying to go to so many games. My dad's like, no, you can't go. You need to save money. I'm like, yeah, but like I don't know how long they're gonna stay here for. So I'd rather spend money and be there instead of miss out on a game that I can go to. And I was gonna say something else, but I forgot.
all right, man. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, man. And
thank you for having me.
yeah, man. Nate, go ahead, Nate. I see your hands up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so just wild night. I mean, I got work in 2 hours, but I can't go to sleep. So, just I've made just so many friends going to the Coliseum. Of my whole friend group that I have now out of high school, I met all through just A's group chats on Twitter, Instagram, all that. So this team means more to me than, I mean, means everything to everyone, but just it means so much to me. Just having them move like that's just devastating. But I keep thinking the funniest part about all this is like they have to, like the MLB has to acknowledge like 4 World Series in Oakland. Like that was here. Like if there ever gonna be highlight reels of when they're in Vegas, they gotta mention Oakland in there. So I mean, at least not many cities can even boast that. Chicago, they can't even boast that 4 World Series in their town. That was one in Oakland. I just I just think that's so funny for some reason. We got Moneyball. I mean, a legacy was definitely built. Just super sad that we can't continue that. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of history to be celebrated here. It's just too bad. It's Fisher killed it in just a matter of years, man. It's crazy how he just decimated it. Sad. But thanks. Yeah, Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Good evening, Alex. It's about
Hey, what's up?
2:15 here in the great city of Eugene, Oregon. Go Ducks. But I've been in the space for 2 hours trying to think about what I want to say, and I don't really know what to say. Like, I just don't have any words to describe the anger, the depression, the grief, the resentment, everything that I'm feeling in my heart. What I can do for you, right? What I can do for you, though, is I'm gonna. Honestly, you cannot tell the story of my life without Oakland Athletics baseball, and I know that sounds kind of. I know that sounds kind of like, oh, that's a little extreme, but what there's a picture on my dad's nightstand, and it's just of me. It's of me in a very like in like one of those Stitches Eric Chavez jerseys, just looking up at the Coliseum. I'm on like the second deck and just like taking in how big the place was. This must have been like 2006 or something, but I've I have been through so much with this team, this organization, everything. My mom recorded a video. I came home from school on October 3rd, 2012, and I understood that the A's were winning. And so my mom recorded Cespedes making a final out, and it's just me and my sister just going absolutely wild. That hey, look, this team I've loved is going to the playoffs. Like they're actually gonna win. They actually might win something, and then like the next year, that's when I first really go to the right field bleachers. I didn't know it then, but that's where I would find some of my closest friends. Right, you've got all the staples. Right field, Will, Brian, my good friend Brian, last dive bar. Love him, love his work. Just it's truly upsetting to know. I guess what I want to get it around to is, because I don't want to waste any more time. What is really eating at me is the fact that I will not be able to do what my dad did and take a picture of my future kid, my son or my daughter, at their first Oakland Athletics game, because they are probably going to have to understand that. Well, I don't know, man. Thank you. I'm gonna have to stop here. Thank you, Alex, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, yeah, it's hard to put into words, man. So thanks, Brian. I see Cat Mario Simp. I think your hand was up. What's up?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Going. Hey, what's up?
I just wanted to share a few more like personal stories because we've already talked more about like the logistics and all the schemazing that John Fisher's done and all that, and I agree with everyone. But just wanted to share a few personal stories. So I'm 25, so I haven't been able to witness any of the championship runs or anything like that. But yeah, born and raised in the East Bay. Grandparents are from Oakland. Mom's from Oakland, so my grandpa used to take my mom to games, and my mom would take my brother and me to games. And yeah, just thinking about all those nights at the Coliseum and all the little things that made it special, like all the drums and the horns and everything. And I've been to Fenway, I've been to other stadiums, and nothing really stacks up to like what the Coliseum offers. And it's just pretty incredible to me because I actually moved to London a few years ago to work for a Premier League soccer team, and there was a guy who sat right next to me at my desk, and he was from Scotland, and we were getting to know each other. And he said that he went to a few stadiums, and he went to Yankee Stadium, he went to Fenway, and then he was like, "Yeah, but my favorite actually was," and I hadn't told him that I was an A's fan. He said, "Yeah, my favorite was actually the Oakland Coliseum. Like it was just this big concrete brutalist structure, and the atmosphere was like so unique compared to all the other stadiums I had been to, and I was just like floored by that, and it meant so much to me that this random guy from Scotland that I don't really know this guy, he just sits next to the desk next to me, has like such a resounding connection that he came to America with his dad, and out of like, all of the stadiums he could have enjoyed, he liked our stadium the most. And that's just like always stuck with me, that, even friends that are Giants fans or people from out of town, the reaction they get when they come to games is just something that you don't get other places. And I think this is just so special to me and everyone in here, obviously. And I think one of the last things I want to share is just um, going to I forget exactly which year it was, but between like 2012, 2014 era, when they had the Oakland Oaks like throwback jersey day. And I went with both my grandparents, and my grandma actually, funnily enough, went on a double date with one of the Oakland Oaks pitchers back in whatever it was, the 50s. And I thought that was pretty funny. And we were watching the game, and Reddick hit that walk off, and they scored, and everyone's celebrating on the field. And my grandpa used to always wear that Oakland Oaks hat, and he just passed away recently. And his service is actually on Saturday, so it's pretty close to home that all this stuff is happening, and knowing like how much the A's meant to our family and the community, and just these memories, they'll never be able to take them from us, and it means so much to us. And even just like, I've never joined a Twitter circle in my life, or a space, or whatever this is, and the fact that I'm so compelled to talk just shows how much I care about the A's and wanted to share my experience, hear everyone else. And they might have taken the team from us, but they'll never be able to take these memories and the moments and the hardships and the ups and the downs. And that Stephen Vogt walk off, man, that'll be one of the best moments of my life, being there with my buddies and my family, and watching, racing home from high school to my friend's house we were carpooling with, and we stopped at his house because it was closer, just to see Hamilton drop that ball. And those are moments that will always stick with us forever, and they can't take that away. So just wanted to share that, and thanks everyone for listening and being a part of this journey with us.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I wonder if I'm going to regret this. Bicycle Frog 99, a shit poster. What you got, Bicycle Frog?
Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Hi. Sorry about the username. It was something.
No,
something
just messing. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, man. So I'll admit, I'm more of a football guy. Baseball is just one of the things I just like check up on the score. But my loyalty's been always to the A's. I wish I had like memories about the Coliseum. I see people hear people talking about all like the good times they had, but all I remember, it was back in 2005. I think it was against the Mariners. I think we lost that game. And truth be told, all I could remember that day was how a really good hot dog I had at the time. It was the best hot dog I had at the Coliseum. But aside from that, it's tough. It sucks hearing that this is it for Oakland. Yeah, I'm honest. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
But even then, my loyalty to the A's has never wavered. I've had friends who are like Dodgers and Giants fans. They try to convince me to become, oh, Joe, come on, man. Why are you an A's fan? You could be a Giants fan. You could be a Dodgers fan. But like, nah. Listen, I don't know much about baseball, but I love the A's. I'm sticking with them. And yeah, I'm kind of glad in a way I got to go to the Coliseum, at least for a game, even though I was a kid. But now that I'm 23 now, and I I was born and raised in Hawaii. So, but now that I'm all grown up, I just wish I was able to go to a game at the Coliseum when I had a chance.
Hey, man, there's still got a few more months.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's true. Well, hopefully, if I can make the time,
Yeah.
So, just want to get it off my chest, man.
For sure. All
Yeah.
right, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Amar D. McFly, you want to go ahead, man?
Yeah, man. So I just gotta say, so I'm not trying to keep it like too sentimental, but I was born in Oakland, West Matt Kaiser. I was out there. Um, Born and raised in Oakland. The crazy thing was when I was a kid, I remember just being in elementary school and having like different like random athletes come to school and like giving us free tickets to go to games. And I went to elementary school in Vallejo at the time, and so basically, you sometimes had like a Giants player come to school. Sometimes you had an A's player come to school, and we usually had a lot more A's players coming to school at the time, and so we go to A's games, right? And I think my earliest like fondest memories that I ever had in my life were going to A's games with my mom and my older sister at the time. And the thing that's really frustrating about this entire situation is like a lot of this I feel like could have been avoided. So uh, I used to work with Molly, who is the person that is kind of working the real estate deal with the A's. Or
Molly Mayburn, the city planner.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to work with her, and basically, when the new mayor came into play, they shut down all the negotiations when that happened, and there was no new, basically, information that was coming out at that point, and there was no negotiations, any of that occurring from that point forward. So I'm just kind of frustrated, like I'm not like a ownership apologist, obviously. Like John Fisher could eat a dick, so could Dave Cavill, all those guys. But I just feel like it's really frustrating knowing that there was an opportunity for us to have a deal that was palatable for our community and for the team that this new leadership kind of just threw by the wayside. Um, yeah, and I just don't really know why they're like low key gaslighting us. Like I saw that that statement that she put out after they made the Vegas announcement, like, oh, I'm gonna shut down the Howard Terminal argument, blah blah, blah, this and
Well,
that.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that Sheng Tao, she's like, we're ceasing negotiations at Howard Terminal. So for me, it's like it's beyond the point of return. I mean, unless something crazy
Exactly.
happens, it's like
When you say something like that, you're basically saying
yeah,
it's a done deal.
yeah.
I'm not talking to you anymore. But it was already done. But yeah, and so that's the most frustrating aspect of it, right? Is I think she always knew that, but she was just trying to save face. And I'm not trying to give like Libby Schaff any level of like grace here. She played her part in this saga that's been going on for the last couple of years. But just the fact that she immediately jumped out and was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna find alternate means to redevelop Howard Terminal." That's basically telling us the A's are gone. Like you're not telling us that we have any opportunity to keep the team. So I think that's kind of like why we are where we are right now, like with this space that you created and everybody that's here right now. It's kind of like a remorseful atmosphere because the mayor herself is saying I'm shutting down the negotiations. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I just didn't even think of the possibility. What if the A's find themselves in some limbo where they can't negotiate with Oakland and the Vegas deal falls through? What are they gonna do? That
Exactly.
would be
Like, don't you
Halloween.
think like you should at least keep the door open?
Yeah.
Molly like straight up was told to stop negotiating when Sheng came into the mayorship. So yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a shitty situation.
Hey Matt, what? Go ahead, man. I see your hands up.
So yeah, I was just curious. So basically, the order of things it sounds like is at some point in the interregnum period between mayors, the new mayors coming in and being like, let's not negotiate, and so then that is precipitating the A's to do this solo track situation, or
I wouldn't quite say that because I feel like the A's were all in on Vegas at that point, right? Um, but I think a lot of the reason that the A's were waiting, or actually, I think a lot of the reason that the A's moved on to Vegas isn't really the city's fault because the city's been waiting on the grants for a long time, right? Like the offsite infrastructure. And so the city doesn't really have anything that they can do about that. Like we're waiting for the feds, we're waiting for the state. All these different things have to happen before we can move forward. Um, I think the mistake that Libby Schaff made, uh, way back when was promising the A's that the city would pay for the offsite infrastructure. And then when the pandemic hit and inflation hit, the cost of everything ballooned. It like doubled, almost tripled in some ways. So that like $300 million that they thought they needed is now like $700-800 million that they need, and they don't have that money.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think Jerry Brown fumbled this in 2002 or whatever, but
Yeah, man, like he never should have got rid of the redevelopment agency.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could honestly, like, they could have. I was talking to somebody, I think Jeff August, and he was saying, like, they had a downtown thing. They would have built, like, Fox Theater would have been, like, in left or right field. Like, that would have been sick, dude, right downtown, 19th.
Yeah, they were going to build it where the Uptown apartments are right now. Like,
Yeah.
that's where they were going to build the stadium.
Yeah.
If you guys are familiar with Oakland, like downtown, where the Uptown apartments are right now, that's where they were originally planning to build the stadium.
And there's just
that
like
was
that park there.
Robert
Yeah.
Bob was the city manager at the time, and he was really pushing for it. But Jerry Brown he wanted to build housing. He had that 10K plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has just been going on forever, and but Matt, you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was just saying the thing that was blew me away. So I mentioned earlier I was on the East Coast. I grew up in the Bay Area. I was born in Oakland, grew up in Hayward and in the Tri Valley. I went to college in Arizona, and then from '02 to '06, and then after that I moved to the East Coast and lived in New York and DC. So I had been on the East Coast, just kind of like following a lot of the stuff. When they were doing the trying to Fremont and San Jose stuff, I was always out of California, so I was constantly just like, hitting on my brother, being like, "What's going on with this?" But I will say when they announced the Laney decision in 2017, 2018, it seemed really weird to me that they just kind of announced, like, they'd only talked to one guy at like the Peralta board or whatever, and and made a deal with him, and then like the whole rest of the college was like, "No, we don't want this."
Oh,
Like
they never even made that deal. They literally just went to them and told them, like, this is what we want to do. And the chancellor got his ass handed to him by everybody else. Like,
it just seemed like from the outside, being on on the East Coast and paying attention to this and trying to get as much information as possible, which I wasn't getting local news stuff. It was just whatever I could find online. It seemed like so horribly managed. And then when I did move back to the Bay in 2020, it was crazy how like I wasn't getting any ads for anything related to the A's on Instagram or anything. Like all of the stuff to like market the players always came from the fans, and like the team never actually did anything to market these players. So for the longest time, I always had this like really conspiratorial thought that like they really don't want to be here. Like, why are you not doing anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's actually a really good point.
I was telling Hal that too. I was like, it's almost like they were whittling down the fan base a few years ago, so this wouldn't be as painful when they really did leave. It's
no, that is a really good point, because remember there was like that one random year where they made all those commercials right next to Lake Merritt. Like Sonny Gray was out there and like running around next to Lake Merritt, and like I was like, I don't remember the last time they did a commercial where like you were actually somewhere in Oakland filming a commercial.
Yeah, as soon as they bailed on Rooted in Oakland, I was like, oh, like I had hope up until about sometime last year when everything stopped. We stopped hearing news about stuff, and the way I've described it on Twitter is like when you're a parent and you don't hear your kids, that's like the worst possible situation because silence from your children is just like something terrible has happened. Um, so like there was some hope for me sometime last year, but for the longest time I was like, there's no way this is happening.
Yeah.
It just all of the signs seemed like they didn't want it. It seemed like a lot of folks, like Carol Fife, who
She's the
represents the
worst.
district that would have covered Howard Terminal, was like seemingly very much against it.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of things where it was like hoping against hope
The
that
crazy
a
thing is,
deal would
I
be
feel, I
found.
feel like the pandemic kind of torpedoed a lot of this because we had so much momentum going in, like from 2018 to 2019, like going into early 2020, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just like costs went up for everything. It kind of slowed down like the governmental aspect of everything. It was just that was the worst thing that could have possibly happened in a lot of different ways. Obviously, that was a terrible situation for like us, like as humans, but it was really bad for the A's too. And I remember in Jack London they had signed an agreement with some developer to build a food hall at Jack London Square, like where the like empty building at the far end of it. They were going to build like a Jack London food hall, and then that went through the roof too. Like everything fell apart. It was just a tough time.
And also, I got a couple. I see Steen, and I don't know if Roxanne. I asked if you were here. I don't know if you fell asleep. Roxanne or Steen, do you guys want to say anything? You guys want to jump in? Nah, people fell asleep. All right, West Bay mode. How about West Bay mode?
Hey, what's up, buddy? You
What's
got
going
me?
on, Clifton?
Hey. All right, so full disclosure here. I grew up with Alex and we go way back, but I just remember like I'm a Giants fan, so um
Boo.
like the rival here, but like going back, being kids, growing up in the Bay Area, it was always like, A's fans versus Giants fans, and it was like a heated rivalry. Um, and like I legitimately like despise the A's, like up there with, Dodgers. Um, and like, we'd always go back and forth, but A's games were always like fun to go to, like going high school and stuff, and it was always like a easy ticket and you just go have a good time. Um but yeah, I mean, like over the years I just started to feel bad just about like seeing how the whole stadium thing was going, and like with the ownership just not giving a fuck about the fans, and like seeing that there was like, a lot of passionate fans there. Um at every game, diehards banging the drums. Um, just like now it's just like sad, you know? Um, but uh I don't know, man. It's tough. Just tough to see. And I don't know
Yeah.
if there's like any like sliver of like hope, like you guys got to do what you can do. Like what last dive bar was saying, just like get out there and do whatever you can, because it's not over. Like I know like this is way before I was like even aware of the whole Giants thing in like the early 90s. They were going to try to move him to Tampa Bay. Somebody jumped in and bought the team, so like I don't know, maybe somebody will come in, swoop up the A's, and make it work. I don't know.
I feel like the only chance is kind of like what happened. Actually, not this hasn't happened, but where it's going to go to the assembly at some point, right, in Nevada. So
Yeah.
they're going to vote on it before June. So I think within the next month and a half or so, we're going to know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I gotta say one thing. Somebody was talking about the advertising. That was the one thing. Like growing up, I was always fucking bitter that the A's had way better commercials than the fucking Giants.
You can call
Get
it
out of here.
baseball,
We don't
man.
want to hear from you, Giants
No,
fans.
I'm
Get
just
out of
saying.
here. I'm
Like,
gonna
yeah, they have some good
send
stuff
you
going.
out.
But anyway, all right, man.
But
Peace
anyway,
out.
that's Scott. He's my best friend from childhood.
Yeah.
Don't mind him.
All right. See you guys. Good luck.
All right. Ty, go ahead, Ty.
Hey, thanks. I kind of just woke up to the news, really, so I'm still processing everything. I'm friends with Paul, 209 Tacos, and he said I should come on. I'm just kind of talk about, being an A's fan. I mean, my parents were from the East Bay, and that's how I was born an A's fan, and they, they've actually, my dad owned a gas station back in the time up in, was it Danville, I think? Yeah, it was Danville. And it was a gas station that many of the 1970s team would go and get gas at and stuff. And that's how they got involved in the team and everything. And it was really cool. And so we grew up, and then, me and my brother and stuff. And I guess my sister too, but she's on sports. And eventually they moved out east to the foothills, but they always stayed an A's fan and everything. And I just grew up, and I remember my brother would collect the cards back in the 80s and then 89, World Series, and he hand them off to me, and then I got into it, and then I kind of for a while didn't, follow baseball like for a while, and then I got back into it a lot in part due to 209 Tacos, Paul, and we started going watching games. We would catch a few like a handful of games because we both live in the Sacramento Stockton area, and and we catch games every year. Those were in the 2010s and the early 2000s and stuff, and they're great games. And yeah, I'm still processing this, man, because like I said, I just woke up, and I don't know. I feel like I should be more angry and more sad, but I feel like I think I'm deep inside. Once Las Vegas was even mentioned by Fisher and his group, maybe deep inside I knew that was probably the beginning of the end. I didn't want to. I held on hope. I still hear how we were making progress. I'm like, okay. Maybe it's just, a bluff or whatever. But I don't know. It's so, it hurts. And, this team, I mean, I always loved the A's more than, I like being an A's fan more than anything, I live in Sacramento now, so that's technically Giants territory. But I love being an A's fan because we were the underdogs. We were the scruffy guys. We weren't the favored son, and I like that about the team. And I like being that about an A's fan and the people who follow the A's. Because there's so many people in baseball who just go, oh, they'd be born and raised in California, but somehow are a Yankees fan. And it's like what. So I mean, it just. Finding this happens, it's just, I'm angry, I'm hurt, but at the same time, I'm like,
I think that's what happened. I think there's been so much roster turnover for the past like 25 years or whatever that it just became actually the event of going to the game, which was sacred. Not even like the players; it was just the experience of the Coliseum was what people loved about the A's. They loved just going to the Coliseum. Like they just loved being a fan. Like sure, the baseball team, it didn't even really matter who was out there playing. It was more about the Coliseum experience. And now, that's been rid. That's over. I mean, it was going to end anyways, but that whole East Bay magic is going to be gone, man. There's nothing like a Raiders game, nothing like Oracle, nothing like A's games at the Coliseum. I mean, Oakland was different, man, and it's not gonna. That's it, man. It's sad. That's the saddest part, I think.
I think we really underrated the Vegas threat for a really long time because like we did the same thing with the Raiders, or I did at least, and a lot of people that I was around, we did the same thing for a really long time where we were just like, oh yeah, Vegas, that's not gonna happen, and then it happened, obviously, right? And then now with the A's, like the same thing, like we were like, oh, they're using that as leverage to try to get a better deal to like for Howard Terminal, but as soon as like I saw, I think I don't know what this guy's name is in real life, but on
I don't know.
Twitter, this guy Vitamin D was like posting like, though, the A's have hired like 17 different lobbyists working towards getting a stadium for the A's in Vegas. And I was like, okay, well, this is definitely not something that we should take lightly. Like, it's most likely going to happen at that point, which is devastating. Like, it sucks. I've been a Raiders, A's, Warrior fan my entire life, like all three. I even had one of those shirts that they used to sell like in the early 2000s at Oaklandish, where they had the RAW and it was like Raiders, A's, Warriors underneath. But it sucks because I don't think there's a fan base that's as strong as us in the East Bay, but we're on the verge of losing our last team.
I feel like that's like its own part to this, right? Like there's the A's piece specifically about A's fandom that I think is unique from all the other teams. But then there's like the larger like social and like cultural aspect of like Oakland is basically, I remember growing up and like I didn't follow hockey or something, but like hockey would have a team in some city I'd never heard of. And now Oakland's gonna be worse than that. You know what I mean? It's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
we're just a city that doesn't show up in any standings anywhere. And like what that says about the city. And for me, the A's, the Raiders, I was a big Raiders fan when they came back. The Warriors, I'm still a Warriors fan because they were in San Francisco before
Same,
Oakland. They went
same.
back, so it was a little bit easier. But it was all about the city. You know what I mean? It was about Oakland rather than any one team in particular. And so to have none there, and like Oakland doesn't appear on a jersey anywhere in any form or fashion, it's just something I can't grapple with.
Yeah, I think like the biggest problem that I have is there are a lot of politicians that are in Oakland aren't really from Oakland, so they don't understand like the civic pride that comes from like having those sports teams around, right? And I'm not saying that we need to like put public money towards any stadium for any of these teams, right? Like I was against putting public money for a stadium for the Raiders. I'm against doing it for the A's. At the end of the day, there's still that like level of pride that you have. Like as Oakland, we have a team, and it means something. And I think the problem is a lot of the politicians that are in Oakland, especially, are like carpetbaggers, for like a lack of a better term. They're not from Oakland. They don't understand Oakland. They haven't grown up in Oakland. They moved here to put like work on their political chops, right, and try to move further up in the game. And that's really frustrating because these teams mean a lot to people that were born and raised here, and it's frustrating that we're on the verge of losing every single one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel you on that, OD McFly. I mean, looking back on it, the the representative we had in West Oakland, she was against it, and that was the person who we
Yeah,
thought
Carol Fife was majorly against it.
exactly, and that was
Yeah.
the person who should have been advocating for it the most, like in the backyard,
Bro,
So that
look
was
at Sacramento. Look what happened to Sacramento when they built that stadium for the Kings. Look at Doco right now. It's thriving.
right.
And they're making their money back times 10.
Absolutely. And it's like, I mean, it was almost like the writings were on the wall, but we had things that led us to think that it was going to be okay. And like Cavill and whoever were sprinkling these ideas that they were rooted in Oakland, and when we all believed it, it just feels like we just found out we got cheated on or something. Like I'm in shambles over this. Like,
Yeah, I am too. I mean, the thing is, like, I said this earlier, like, I'm definitely, I hate John. I wanted them to sell the team.
yeah,
Like, Joe Lacob has been on record saying he would buy the team and keep them
yeah,
in Oakland. He said this multiple times. And then it made me even more pissed off, like a couple weeks ago, when Reggie Jackson said that he had a team with Bill Gates as part of his ownership group and he tried to buy them. But the problem was that Bud Selig, his frat brother, was Lou Wolf. And
Yep.
so he sold them the team. And so, like, that aspect of it was so frustrating because it's like us in Oakland, we cannot catch a break. Like, we just cannot catch a break. Constantly, we're constantly getting fucked.
Yep.
And Lou Wolf buying the team was the worst possible thing that could have happened to us.
Right.
Yeah, Bud Selig. Honestly, the A's lost back in the 50s or 60s in Wisconsin. Whenever those dudes met, that's when the
Yeah,
A's
man.
lost the stadium.
Yeah,
Dude.
absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
real.
That was
I
the
mean, do
worst
you guys
possible thing that could
remember?
have happened.
Do you remember when like the Dodgers would be in the playoffs and Lou Wolf would be at a Dodgers game like on camera while the A's are dealing with stadium struggles? And it's like, why is our owner being seen at Dodgers games? You know, like. And then even when Lou Wolf wasn't the owner anymore, and it's Fisher, and it's like, where is he at when we're doing these community events? And like they put the Weasel Cavill out in front of everybody to go talk to them, but like, where's Fisher to talk to the Oakland
Right.
people? And
Fisher won't even talk to the media. When was the
never
last time he
seen
gave
him.
an interview to the media?
He's only done one interview since he on record, and it was in 2020 with Susan Slusser. He had to apologize for not giving $400 a week stipends to minor leaguers or something. It was
Yeah,
Which was
when that whole
pathetic.
thing
that is
was.
Which was
literally the only
pathetic.
time he talked, man. It's like so sad,
Yeah.
man.
Like,
I mean,
even
can
if
you
you
even?
add all that up, that was like $1.2 million.
No, I think it was like 1.9 million, and he was worth like $3 billion at that
Right.
point. It's so crazy.
I mean, he
man.
showed up
It's
so.
a drop in the bucket, and then people need this money for it's like a lifeline during COVID, and he's like,
Yeah,
nah.
just can you imagine how shitty it's been for us as Oakland fans? Like, if you just look across the board, we had to deal with like Mark Davis, had to deal with Fisher, and then we finally got a good owner in Joe Lacob, and the first thing he wanted to do was move to San Francisco. Like,
I mean,
it's crazy.
there is at least 20 things I can name as an A's fan that has pissed me off over the last 5 to 10 years, whether it's raising prices when we were selling away players, whether it was not investing in just the soda cups on seats and letting those get cobwebs on them, not having concessions open. It's one thing after another. But at the same time, when's the last time you've even seen a picture of John Fisher, like a recent picture? Like, this guy is never even at the game. He's never even seen around A's fans. Like, he doesn't
Right.
even want to be part of our fandom. Like,
Yeah, and then the best thing they ever did was A's Access. Like, I signed up for that
right.
immediately. And then like 2 years later, they booted Chris Giles and they got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think the last time John Fisher was at a game was at AT&T Park. There was a picture, I think last year. It was John Fisher was with Larry Baer, dude. So
the weird thing is, I think Tim Kawakami wrote about this earlier, but apparently, like, a lot of the other Bay Area team owners like John Fisher for some reason. Like, even Joe Lacob said, he was like, "Oh, I like John. He's a nice guy." Like, it's crazy.
I see John Cena with Mao Zedong / John Cena. You got something to say? What's up, John?
Yeah, what's up? It's more just a joke profile, but yeah, I just gotta say, man, it's been crazy as like a Gen Z 20-something-year-old kid being a A's fan. It's just like the things that have happened in the past like couple decades are, I don't know. Can you compare any sports franchise to this? Like, it's kind of insane.
It's crazy. Well, it's crazy that MLB let the ownership just get away with shitting on their fans for so long. It's pretty wild. I can't recall. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I was just gonna say,
go
to
ahead,
answer your question, I would watch. You could find it on YouTube. There's a documentary called "Brooklyn Dodgers Goes to Flatbush," and I'm telling you, you'll find so many parallels to A's fandom over the last 20 years. Like, desperately trying to win the World Series. Brooklyn to Manhattan, Oakland to San Francisco, the blue collar nature of Brooklyn. There's just so many, and I lived in Brooklyn, and it felt like Oakland. But if you find that documentary, it also goes into the stadium push and the move. And if there are any Brooklyn Dodger fans still out there anymore, I gotta imagine they're so pissed that the Nets arena sits where the Dodgers wanted to build a stadium to keep the Dodgers in Brooklyn, but couldn't because New York officials wouldn't allow them to do it. Um, watch that documentary. It's a really good documentary. It's narrated by Liev Schreiber, who's a Bay Area native.
Well,
But you'll see the parallels like
and the
instantly.
funny thing is, even the Nets, they stole the Nets and brought them over there from New Jersey.
Yeah, I just I'll look into that, but yeah, I just want to say like right, I grew up like pretty much born and raised in San Lorenzo. I live out in Sacramento now, but I've been to the A's games since I was like 4. And it's just like the main thing that blows my mind is like 2017 to 2019, I think was just such an insane period, especially as like somebody like becoming an adult and getting like the money to spend because um so like I followed baseball for a while and I kind of stopped after the 2012 to 2014 run. I was like, okay, we just blew up everything. I'm gonna stop for a while, but I came back, right? I came back in 2017, and obviously we were still bad, but I remember specifically uh us sweeping Houston like late in the season, and just being like, okay, you know what, this team might be something. And I remember telling people, they didn't really believe me, but it's just so weird because I think it was 2018 Fan Fest. I ended up getting convinced to be a like an A's Access member, and they like took me to like the A's head office and everything. Like it was kind of weird how hard they were trying, but they
Is
like
that
the
when
whole
Cavill
thing.
was doing like the meetups with the fans?
Yeah, it was. I didn't get to speak to him. I did see him there, but like it was so weird because I remember going to Fan Fest and I think it was Townie and Forrest or somebody basically being like, yeah, like things have changed now. We're gonna spend for this team. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna change. Things have changed in Oakland, and I drank that Kool-Aid. I really drank that Kool-Aid, man.
I
I
think
mean,
we all
you
did.
you and
I
all
think
you
we
and all
all
of us
did.
did, John.
They did it. I can't lie. They did a really good job. Like that first like 2 or 3 years of like
Mm-hmm.
that whole like A's Access rooted in Oakland. Like they fooled us all.
I'm gonna say that was probably my greatest experience as a fan. 2018, and 2019 to an extent.
I feel like
I mean,
that
because
brought.
really, if you think about it, you A's Access was insane. I don't think like the access, the value that I got out of that way outweighs whatever I spent on it, and it wasn't a lot of money. Um, but yeah, it's just crazy how they went from that to this in such a quick succession. It just blows my mind. But
Yeah, Chris
yeah, that's really
Giles
all I
won
had to
last.
say. And also shout out Paul and shout out the A's Discord.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would expand on that and say it was fascinating that Chris Giles didn't stay with the team much longer after the 1 to 2 years of A's Access. And it was telling because either
Dude, they cleaned house. Like a lot of people from the marketing department, like after that 2018-19, I think that everything changed after those years.
yeah, and I would like to
Dude, they
even make it.
fired them all.
And I would like to make a
Like when
comment about.
Giles left, they got rid of everyone.
Yeah, they cleaned house. It was,
And also, who actually worked at the A's? Like, we talk about rooted in Oakland. They talked about rooted in Oakland so much, but being a part, I mean, a small part, but a part of the A's organization and looking up and seeing who worked there wasn't a whole lot of people from the East Bay who worked there, man. It
No,
was
they had people from other teams
like
who did social for like the Angels
Wisconsin,
come.
Seattle.
Right.
I mean, a lot of other places, man. And it didn't have an East Bay feel within the A's, but everything they were spitting out to us as fans was rooted in Oakland, but it was so fake because nobody there actually cared about Oakland.
I mean, Giles was from Fresno, right?
I will
Like
say
somewhere in the
no,
Central
Chris
Valley.
Giles,
Like,
not absolutely everybody. And Chris Giles, I mean, he didn't last too much longer after the A's access thing. We all loved it, and for
yeah.
some reason, maybe on the bottom line after the first year didn't work out, but
Oh, there's no way they lost money on that. There's no way.
Well, that's what Kevel tried to say. I think he tried to say that it wasn't a sustainable thing for them. It was kind of like, they were trying to rope people in, but then it just.
I don't know if I agreed with that because you think
Yeah, I
about how
don't.
much money you make on concessions,
Mhm.
even like half off. Like they're
But I mean, supposedly they made $29 million in profits last year. So I don't know. Maybe cost cutting was it sucks, but maybe they made a right business decision.
I mean, the one thing, like, I'm not an investigative reporter, but the one thing that I really do want to understand is why they completely cut off negotiations with the new mayor. Like, why did that happen? Because Molly literally has not had a conversation with anyone with the A's since Libby was no longer mayor.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's wild. Because Sheng Tao, she came out and said, "Oh, we tried, we made progress in the last 3 months," but it
Nah,
sounds
she was
like
just
BS.
bullshitting, bro.
Yeah,
She was
that
just
sounds
bullshitting.
BS. Yeah. Anyways, it's about like 3:00. I think at its peak we had more than like 300 people in here. I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm probably just gonna wrap this thing up, but thank you everybody. This is going to be like a season-long process, I think, for everybody.
Well, thanks for running this. This is the first time I ever even interacted on a space. So
yeah,
yeah.
Same. Yeah, this is my first time doing a space too. This is I mean, it's going to be like a grieving process, honestly. This is my entire life. I've been doing this thing, and now it's not there anymore. So I don't know what to do. But I just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks to Hal. Hal's been long asleep. Yeah. All right. Got
For me, as soon as it's a done deal, I'm done. I'm just done. As soon as it's a done deal.
All right. But all right. One last one from Paul, and then we'll call it a night. All right. Last call from Paul from Last Eye Bar. What's up, Paul? Yo, Paul, you there, bud?
This shit was good. You guys did good tonight. People needed to vent, and you were there for them. Like, people needed this.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. I think everybody needed
Yeah,
this.
they really,
This
they really did.
a cathartic release.
I
Sure.
couldn't even tell you how like furious I was when I read the shit tonight, and driving home from work, listening to people tell their stories. Like, it was a good vent. It was a good vent.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good
So I
segment.
appreciate you, man. That was good. Good
All
call.
right. Thanks, Paul. All right, see you soon, man. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to everybody again. Me and Hal recorded an emergency pod right after this happened, so that's up on all the podcast stuff. It's on YouTube, but we'll get through this together. My advice would be if you enjoy the A's, don't let John Fisher take that from you. Get out to some games because who knows, this could be the last season. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a great night and. Yeah, don't know what to say, but we'll get through this. All right, see you guys.